protein, getting a good 30 grams of protein at every meal, making sure you're getting a good amount of fiber in your fruits and vegetables. And then low glycemic foods are, non-starchy vegetables, foods that haven't been processed. Some fruits, it's going to be most fruits, but some fruits, all of that will have a slower impact on overall blood sugar.
How important is sleep?
Sleep. Now, Andrew, sleep is, I would say, one of the most important factors. The reason why sleep is so important because as we are sleeping, it's the only time our body actually gets to repair itself. And it's very important that I have all my clients here at Lifetime make sure that they are getting to bed at the same time every night, as well as they're waking up at the same hour of the day, so that allows our bodies to get into a rhythm. Once your body is in that rhythm, your body knows what to expect from you, and therefore it allows your body to actually recover a whole lot better.
Have you guys noticed, and maybe this is me, this shift is very challenging when it comes to sleep. And sometimes when I don't get enough sleep, I crave carbs and junk food. Is that common?
Absolutely. We're no different than you, Andrew, and everyone else in the world. So just because we're empowered with the knowledge doesn't mean that all trainers actually practice this. So that's one of the things that I emphasize is, if you're not getting enough sleep, one, you might, if you're going to bed late, watching TV at night, you're going to be more prone to snacking that's not as beneficial for you. And if you're snacking late, that's going to impact the way that you're processing food while you're sleeping, while your body's trying to repair itself. And then you're trying to get up early the next day, or you might oversleep, and then you're prone to grab something that's just quick and on the go. It's not going to be as healthy for you as, say, pausing to make the oatmeal in the morning.
Now, just like actually drinking and consuming alcohol or consuming anything that's going to impair your judgment, just that is the same effect that having a lack of good quality sleep is going to have on your body. You're going to make poor choices throughout the day, as well as poor food choices.
So we've talked about foods, we've talked about, fiber, protein, that sort of thing. Anything else you want to mention for the thousands of people who are watching us about best ways, best practices for healthy blood sugar levels, or just ways to maintain and stay away from being diabetic as much as possible?
Yes.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
All right. So yes. So the most important factor outside of your diet is going to be physical activity. Like I said in the beginning, the more active you are, the better you are. Now, the only way your body's actually going to burn off all that extra sugar in your blood is by exercise. Specifically, strength training, specifically lifting heavier weights to allow your body to build up and create new muscle. That muscle is the only thing that's actually going to burn those calories. The fat doesn't burn calories. The fat just sits there and floppers on the backside of your arm as well as in your belly. So making sure we get active and burn off those extra calories.
Yeah, I would also
Kristen?
tag on to that and say that, over the last few years, we've seen an increase in monitoring glucose levels. So you've seen people that maybe have been prescribed by a doctor to wear the constant glucose monitor. But I think that's for everybody. It's not just for those who are pre-diabetic or have been diagnosed with diabetes. I think that's everyone. If we learn early how to monitor blood sugar levels, that might be by practicing better portion control so that we have an even intake throughout the day. You have regular meal timing. But just like Andre said, exercise is huge. It's going to help you regulate the mitochondria at the cellular level. So as you're intaking the foods that you're eating regularly throughout the day, the way that you exercise and the way that you utilize that food within your body is going to help you to help prevent diabetes overall.
Okay, Andre Douglas, Kristen Skinner, we appreciate your time. Thanks for the valuable tips and ideas and suggestions on this very important topic. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. There is the art of negotiating that's going to be happening on the University of Memphis campus in the College of Business. I'm joined right now by John Cicala. He is an assistant professor of teaching, director of MBA programs there. John, good to have you on the digital desk. So tell me about this idea, the art of negotiating, and this workshop that's happening soon. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm glad we got the audio working better now. This is a little funky setup, but what we're going to be doing, negotiation is one of those areas that so many people can always be better at. It was the very first course I took when I was in grad school 20 years ago. I fell in love with it, and I think it's something that we can help everybody do a better job with when they're collaborating, working with others, whether it's negotiating for business, which is the main angle for our workshop on November 21st, or whether they're just wanting to negotiate better in personal lives. However, the skills that we're going to help teach them are wonderfully transferable between personal and professional lives.
I would think so. I mean, you need communication skills no matter what you do in any profession, and certainly that can bleed over into your personal life too. Communication and then negotiating, persuasiveness, that
Yep.
sort of thing. So give me the fundamentals. Like, what's going to be happening at this workshop, and what do you teach students there?
All right, what we're going to do is Thursday afternoon, November 21st from 1 to 4. It's a 3 hour session. We're going to have some basic concepts, a little bit of lecture, and give them some information, take a little bit of a break. And then for the second half of the workshop, we're going to do some simulated negotiations so they can practice some of the things that we talked about in the first half, some of the skills and concepts and tactics and strategies that we share with them. They can actually practice it with other people at the workshop so that when they go back to their jobs, they've had a little firsthand experience with it. Some of the concepts that we're going to talk about, and there are so many variables in a negotiation between doing your homework and knowing your side, but you also have to understand your counterpart side, what their interests are. One of the courses when I was being trained in this, I was taught very early on that the secret to making it work for you is to make certain that it works for them. And if you can get everybody on the same page and kind of find common themes and things that you have working together with the other side, it makes it a lot easier. But unfortunately, so many people tend to take more of a positional, this is what I want, and cross their arms and just refuse to budge. And that's not very helpful, and that's not good negotiating.
Is negotiating and compromise, is that synonymous? Give me the difference.
I don't know that there's a difference, but I think in a good negotiation, there has to be compromise. Nobody's going to walk away with every single thing that they wanted to get. The only way that happens is if the other side doesn't get anything that they want. So when we teach collaborative or principled negotiation, the concept and the idea is to work together with the other side, that things that can benefit me can benefit you, and you're working together, especially in a business context, because I don't know that I would want to enter into a contractual obligation with somebody else if they weren't willing to work with me and, put together a good plan and a good agreement that works for everybody as best as it can work for everybody. If someone's just looking to gain for themselves at my expense, I don't want to do business with that kind of person. That's not going to be good for me in the long run.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, John. I appreciate that. So Thursday afternoon, November 21st, from 1 to 4 at the Fogelman College there on campus, you're going to be teaching this executive session, this executive education programming. Is this
Right?
just for students? Is it open to the public?
Oh, no,
How's it
it
going to
is
work?
absolutely open to the public. If people would go into like Google and just do a search for Memphis Executive Training or FCBE, Fogelman College of Business and Economics, negotiation, it will take them to the webpage for our executive training series. And from there, they can click on leadership, emerging leaders. That will take them to the course. And if the course is titled Negotiation 101, Negotiation for Business, and there's a link right there they can click to register for the program. It is wide open. We encourage large business, small business, anybody that thinks they could be better at negotiating. Anybody that has to negotiate at their work, whether it's working with vendors, putting out disputes and conflicts internally, any type of negotiating that they feel they have to do and they want to be better at doing it, this is for them.
Okay, well, listen, John Cicala, we appreciate your time here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thank you so much for taking a minute, and we look forward to hearing more and more about the School of Business there and this art of negotiating, this amazing powerhouse program that is not only for students, but for the entire Mid-South. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Appreciate Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. I want to talk about Wounded Warrior Project right now. They partner with organizations all across the country to expand reach and enhance programs, improve advocacy efforts for post 9/11 injured veterans and their families. And in return, the organization provides companies with a way to support their communities, involve employees, make an impact in the lives of the wounded, the ill, and the injured veterans. I want to talk more about what they do and how important these nonprofit business relationships are. I'm joined now, I believe it's Bree Katzer-Todd, VP of Business Development for Wounded Warrior Project, and Brian Tucker with CSX. Thank you both for joining us. Bree, over to you. Tell us about some of the programs and services offered to veterans through Wounded Warrior Project, and how do these corporate sponsorships and partnerships really help make these services possible? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us. Wounded Warrior Project has a number of different programs to really meet the warrior where they are in their recovery journey. And they focus on mental and brain health, financial wellness, connection, advocacy efforts, as well as physical health and wellness. And we provide these programs free of charge to the warriors and their family members. And that's really where our corporate partners step in, because they help us fuel our programs and services. They help provide much needed funding, they engage their employees, they connect with communities, and they help amplify the mission of Wounded Warrior Project each and every day.
Brian, over to you. Tell me about CSX involvement with Wounded Warrior Project and why you decided to get involved, and specifically about this drone program, I believe, that you are helping fund, right?
That's correct. Well, service is really part of CSX's DNA. Every day, the men and women of CSX, the 23,000 railroaders, are out there in service to our country's economy, keeping goods moving across the country. But our connection to service runs even deeper than that. About 1 in 5 of our employees is a veteran, has served our country. It's something that we care deeply about, something that our employees are very close to. And that's why we're so proud to partner with the Wounded Warrior Project to offer a whole host of programs and support and resources, but the one that we're particularly proud of is the Warriors to Work program, and this is the drone certification program. We have equipment, we have experts, we use drones in the railroad industry, and we train these veterans to get certified as drone pilots to help with that transition from military service to the civilian world. And that is something that we're really excited about, and we're very proud to help these warriors as they make that transition, because we know that it can be a challenge.
Bree, tell me a little bit about Wounded Warrior Project. So many of us know that name and know, maybe have some familiarity with what exactly it is, but can you spell it out for us and how long you guys been in existence and what exactly you do?
Absolutely. So Wounded Warrior Project, we've been around for 20 years, and we started as a very small organization, and now we're a national organization with a local impact. So we serve warriors and family members in their community, and we provide a number of different programs. As I mentioned, they are free to the warriors and their families, and those programs are still in need. We have 71 warriors signing up every single day for our programs and services. And we're able to deliver them because of companies, because of individuals that have raised their hand. And so we're continuing to provide the necessary programs and services to warriors each and every day.
Bree, we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the digital desk. If someone is watching and perhaps they're a business owner or perhaps they're just an employee and they want to help out, what are the best ways to do that?
Well, I would welcome anyone to go to woundedwarriorproject.org, and there you will find a number of different ways to get involved, whether you're a company, an individual, as you mentioned, an employee, and you want to take this back to your company. And also, if you are a veteran, a warrior, a family member, and you want to learn more about our programs and get involved, you can find all of the information there also. So it's woundedwarriorproject.org.
Brian, did you mention something about the drone program yet?
Yes, I did. That's a program, it's the Warriors to Work program, and we're specifically focused on providing drone certification training to the Wounded Warriors through the Wounded Warrior Project, and something that we're very proud of.
And tell me what it's been like to partner with Wounded Warrior Project. Has it benefited your business, employees, what?
Well, our partnership with the Wounded Warrior Project is something that we are extremely proud of. As a partner, you know, you want to have a relationship where you can grow together, and that's exactly what we've done. I mentioned that we have a number of things that we're working on, but we're always working together to increase the impact. It's more than just writing a check. It's really about getting our employees involved, finding ways to make connections that make sense for our business, and we've actually hired some of the Wounded Warrior members, and it's just something that we're really proud of and that we look to continue for the years ahead.
Okay, Bree and Brian, we appreciate you coming on the digital desk, informing our audience about the importance of not only supporting the Wounded Warrior Project, but also those nonprofit business relationships. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Okay. A little bit about pickleball. We've talked about how it is the fastest growing sport in the U.S. right now. There has been a report released, 36.5 million people have played pickleball at least once in the last year. That's 14% of the adult population. But here's the thing, with all these people playing pickleball, and some of those games and some of those matches are very competitive. I've seen it firsthand. There are injuries associated with pickleball. In fact, Memphis's own Campbell Clinic just released the first and only study of its kind talking about the most common injuries when it comes to pickleball. Let's talk to someone who knows a little bit about this recent study. I have the pleasure now to join, to have Dr. Fred Azar, Chief of Staff of Campbell Clinic. Joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk, Dr. Azar, always good to see you. How are things at Campbell Clinic? Good morning.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me. Everything's
Appreciate
great.
you being here. So let's talk about this first of its kind study that really kind of dives deep into some of the most common injuries associated with pickleball.
So we noticed a few years ago that we had some patients coming in with these pickleball injuries, and there was a little bit of a pattern. People in their 50s, 60s, and 70s were coming in with injuries, and we felt like there was a need to make them aware that these injuries could happen playing pickleball. So we looked around the literature, and there was really not much in the literature to educate our patients. So we decided to do this study. We wanted to, first of all, review the literature to see what was out there. And secondly, we launched a survey so we could get our patients to participate in this survey to give us information that we could provide broadly. So we published this study. It's not published yet, but it's been accepted for publication. It'll be out soon. It's got information on raising the awareness of pickleball injuries. It's reviewed the literature. And also, we've included our survey with some information there on some recommendations on how to avoid injuries.
So let's talk about some of the most common injuries that you saw in this study when it came to pickleball.
So we found that we've so far have over 500 participants. This is our survey, not the raw literature, but it's pretty much in sync with what's out there in the literature. About 55% were women, 45% men, and 2/3 were more than 55 years of age. The majority of injuries are soft tissue injuries, meniscal tears, tendonitis like Achilles tendonitis or rotator cuff tendonitis, back strains, ankle sprains are pretty common. About 40% were fractures, the most common being wrist fractures from falls, usually backwards when attempting to go back to make a shot.
Got it. Are there maybe some best practices? We have so many people that love pickleball. Are there maybe some best practices out there to try and prevent some of these injuries, doctor?
Certainly, the number one thing is awareness. You can get hurt. This is a sport that's relatively new. Just raising the awareness for that. Certainly, warming up is really important. You want to be able to warm up and cool down properly, just like you do with any sport. You need proper equipment, so shoe wear is really important. Running shoes aren't great for it. A tennis shoe is better. It's a more low-profile shoe. Some people want to brace a knee or an ankle if they've got an ailment. That's important to do. And also, really, moderation and cross training. It's not great to play this sport 5 days a week, 3 hours at a time. You're going to come in with some overuse injury. Hydration is really important too. We actually found that, and I don't mean alcohol, we found that 6% of participants, at least in our survey, were consuming alcohol while playing the sport. So it's really important to think about hydrating, but not in that respect. It's a pretty social sport, but hydrating without alcohol is a pretty good way to go. And then really play to your level. Don't try and play somebody who's going to be a lot tougher than you competition-wise. Play to your level. Listen to your body. So if you think you've got something brewing, step aside and let somebody else play.
Alcohol during pickleball, that sounds crazy and scary and something that no one should be able to do. I mean, because
it's not like golf.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on there. I mean, where I work out at my gym, there are pickleball courts, and they're always packed, and there are some fierce games. And in your part of the Memphis Mid-South area, I mean, you've seen all these pickleball courts going up everywhere. I mean, it is growing fast across the country and here in the U.S. Some people think it's an older person's sport, but I'm seeing everybody, young, old, all demographics playing this sport. Anything else you'd like to share, Dr. Azar, about this to maybe kind of minimize anyone getting hurt?
Well, you're right. It started out as an older person sport, but now everybody's playing it. I think that the important thing for us is to bring awareness to patients and people that are playing the sport that you can become injured. And raising that awareness we think is really important. And then giving some information on how we can do to prevent injuries. That's what we're all about, injury prevention. And people that want to participate in our survey, go to campbellclinic.com. You can click on the link to the survey. We're trying to get more information out there so we can build a survey and we can advance the knowledge of this sports to all people who are participating in it.
Okay, so 500 participants, a part of this study, and you said, is it posted right now on campbellclinic.com so our viewers can see for themselves?
The survey is available. The publication will be out soon, and we'll have that link too. But we want people to participate in the survey. Again, we've got over 500 people so far. We want to add to that survey.
Got it. All right, Dr. Fred Azar, Campbell Clinic Chief of Staff. Really appreciate your time on the digital desk. Feel free to come on any other time to keep us up to date on whatever's happening, pickleball or not. Thanks so very much.
We have some great weather conditions on tap for Tuesday throughout the Mid-South as temperatures will be climbing up into the upper 60s and lower 70s yet again. So if you have any sort of outdoor plans by 1:30 in the afternoon, well, it's going to be pretty nice out there. Plenty of sunshine around yet again. Look at those upper 60s in place for Holly Springs, Ripley over towards Corinth, Selmer, Bolivar, Arlington, as well as into West Memphis. Some lower 70s into Clarksdale, Batesville, Oxford, and up into Quitman counties as well. So it should be another really nice day of weather across the Mid-South. Plenty of sunshine around. The thing is, though, as we start to move into the overnight hours, not really the evening, but into the overnight hours, we do start to see some clouds scoot up from the south to the north, and that's ahead of the next disturbance that will swing itself through the region and bring us some rain as Wednesday does evolve. But for the time being, look at Wednesday as far as our overnight low temperatures from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. 46 for Bolivar, 46 for Dyersburg, 46 degrees as well for Blytheville, while Mariana can expect an overnight low of 50 degrees, and Marks, Mississippi will slip into the 53-degree range. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the night, and we will be seeing westerly winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The WMC First Alert weather app, that is a good one to have on hand here because, of course, that is going to alert you in regard to the rain that we do have within the forecast here. And speaking of which, here we go, Futurecast. As far as the afternoon or the morning hours on Wednesday are concerned, we will start to see these shower slides to the north here. And I do anticipate these being around here by sunrise on Wednesday morning. So from the beginning of the day, as to when most people wake up, through the overnight hours from Wednesday into Thursday, there will be some showers and thunderstorms around the Mid-South. Some good news is, though, not expecting any of these to be on the severe side. Of course, some heavier rain's a possibility with some localized downpours. But by the time we scoot into Thursday, look at that. A lot of the clouds, a lot of the rain, it's going to be well on out of here. And Thursday should be a pretty nice day here across the Mid-South, and that will be a continuation factor into that of Friday as well. How much rain can we expect out of this? Well, Futurecast, generally speaking, has about a ½ inch to an inch worth of rain here. It has a tendency to usually overdo the rain by just a little bit, so I'm thinking more in the range of probably a quarter to a ½ inch for most of us, but you will see your localized totals that do exceed that of an inch to an inch and a half, but as a general statement, about a ½ inch of rain is expected out of this, so obviously that shouldn't cause any sort of issues pertaining to flooding. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, it is never too far away to look ahead to that. Middle to upper 60s on Saturday, about 70 degrees will do it on Sunday. There will be a few more clouds around for the forecast period on Sunday compared to that of Saturday. I don't think it's going to be a bad weekend whatsoever. And if you remember, we did have a small chance of rain here on Sunday yesterday. We've been able to eliminate that here, so I think we should see a couple of dry days ahead here between both of those weekend days. Yet again, though, going back to the weather that we have on tap here for that of Tuesday, temperatures 64 degrees by 11 a.m., 67 degrees by 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., of course, that's just after that of sunset, we will start to see those temperatures drift back. And by 8 p.m., we're looking at some 57-degree readings here across the Mid-South and clouds that will be on the increase here for the day. And, well, that'll be the case here through the overnight hours as well. All right, let's get into it as far as that 7-day forecast is concerned. Temperatures pretty consistent here really across the board for the afternoon highs. 64 degrees, the coolest days that we will see between Thursday and Friday, but back into the lower 70s by Sunday and Monday. And for perspective, we should be at about 64-44 high-low split for our averages. So literally for that of Thursday and Friday, pretty much going to hit those numbers on the nose. Going back to Wednesday, though, yet again, watch out for those showers. They will be arriving here really before that of sunrise into northern Mississippi. They will be kind of spreading onto the north and to the rest of the Mid-South here as the day does continue on. Wednesday also does look to be on the breezier side. Not that I think the winds will be over the top, but still worthwhile to point out. And then moving into the weekend, I do think Saturday is a nicer of the two halves just because there will be a few more clouds around on Sunday. Into early next week, that is when we start to introduce the next chance of showers, albeit just a 20% for the time being. Nothing that should really capture your attention. And there is an opportunity to see a couple of small chances of showers here between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. One last thing I do want to point out, notice those temperatures, they are on their way down here for Thursday of next week. We could start to see some consistently cooler temperatures around the Mid-South by the end of next week into that adjacent weekend. And don't forget, that adjacent weekend, that is the last one before that of Thanksgiving. So it really does look like by the time we move into the back half of November, we will see some cooler conditions around the Mid-South. But at least for the time being, we should see some really nice weather conditions for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just watch out for some showers, breezy conditions, a lot of cloud coverage, and just subpar weather conditions for that of Hump Day on Wednesday.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. You know, when the weather changes, it gets cooler out. Sometimes we crave that warmth, spice, comfort food, like chili, for example. How can we make some of those comfort foods lighter and healthier? Isn't that a great question? Let's bring in registered dietitian Leslie Eli with Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare to talk a little bit about this topic here. And Leslie, I appreciate you joining us once again on the digital desk. So where do we begin on trying to make things a little bit lighter out there, especially something like chili? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yes, those temperatures are cooling down. We are craving those, comfort foods, those warm, cozy things. So, and we're talking about chili. One thing we need to keep in mind is controlling our sodium. So, rinsing our beans, if we're putting beans in our chili, we can even step up the fiber a little bit more alongside our beans by adding some of that canned pumpkin. It's kind of pumpkin season right now as well. So packing that fiber punch, adding things like butternut squash. So really offsetting the total carbs and fat and everything in that chili by adding some of those good nutritious vegetables in there as well.
That's a great idea to do the butternut squash and the pumpkin. Why would we want to, I know it's important to do, but can you explain why we rinse the beans?
Sure. So part of the canning process is they're going to add sodium to it to help kind of keep it shelf stable. So things that are canned are going to be a little bit higher in sodium versus something that's going to be fresh or frozen. So anytime that you can rinse anything that's canned can help reduce the sodium amounts on there just by rinsing off anything that's on the surface level. Also, you can pick items that say, no salt added or lower sodium. Those are going to be great options as well. So if you can't find something that has no sodium added, rinsing is going to be, the next best thing.
Yeah, sodium is certainly an issue for sure. I mean, some people just think it's just a little bit of salt, but when you're, making a crock pot of chili and stuff, you want it to taste just right. And a lot of times, you can add too much sodium. Anything else you want to mention on the chili, or can I move on to another dish?
Well, one thing with the chili too, great topping. We can add some things that help keep us satisfied, maybe without eating as much of the chili. So things like avocado, great source of fat there, and can help us keep a little bit more full without having to go back to the chili for seconds or thirds.
Love avocados. Everything is better with avocados. Certainly, I love that. Butternut squash, avocados. You're getting my taste buds going this morning, Leslie. I appreciate that. Something else when it comes to comfort food in the fall and the winter months. A lot of times we like to have those casseroles. What's some good suggestions, some ideas to lighten it and make it healthier?
So one thing you can look for, if you're looking for a recipe for a casserole that's usually got those like cream type soups, I definitely use those in a pinch, but there are casseroles that don't use those. They use more of like a milk and a flour kind of roux type thing to thicken them up. And that's going to help you also keep control of your sodium. So anytime that you're able to, put those ingredients together and cut out something that's going to be canned or packaged, you're actually able to control how much sodium and seasoning. You can season it any way you want. You can add dried herbs, you can add, peppers and onions, other things besides salt to make it taste good.
Yeah, a lot of times people do add, cream of mushroom or cream of potato, that sort of thing. And so what you're saying is stay away from that. Just add those things yourself. Slice up a mushroom or a potato, that sort of thing, right?
Correct. And look for recipes that are using like a milk and a flour thickener or a cornstarch thickener, something that's not going to be from a can. You can also, in those casseroles, you can throw in spinach, any type vegetable. You can really, especially if you're kind of, using some sort of cheese or something to top that, really great avenue for adding in all the vegetables.
A lot of times people like to have, pasta, for example, baked ziti. That's one of my favorites. And during the winter months, people like to splurge on that. What are your suggestions for something like a baked ziti?
So definitely we can use a whole wheat pasta. They also have like a chickpea based pasta that's going to be higher in protein. My peeps at my house can't even tell the difference on those, and helps us feel a little bit more full with all that added protein. Sometimes in my meat sauce, I add lentils. And so do half meat, half lentils. To kind of help with the protein, the plant-based proteins. You can shred carrots into your red sauces. You can, again, add pumpkin. So definitely beefing up the vegetables and the plant-based proteins without adding more, meat-based proteins. Those red sauces really help take on the flavor. Everything kind of blends well, and you can't really tell that you've added, carrots, zucchini, lentils, whatever it may be. So those are great tips to kind of try out this season.
Something else, because my wife is gluten-free, and so pasta is kind of a struggle for her. We use sometimes spaghetti squash. I mean, you cook up a spaghetti squash, you bake it in the oven. It is amazing taste-wise, and you can add kind of the same sauces and whatever else, making it a much healthier dish. Anything else that, like tips for anything else this fall and winter months when it comes to eating to make it lighter and healthier?
Sure. My biggest takeaway for this season, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, where everyone's gathering around food and those big dishes. Just remember, this is just, a couple of days out of the year. My biggest thing that I tell my clients, my patients is, skip the things that you can get any other day that you're not as excited about, and fill your plate with foods that you don't get very often. Your mom's sweet potato casserole, or your aunt's, whatever it might be. Just that is going to help you, I feel like, be a little bit more satisfied with the food choices that you're making, and not necessarily slamming your plate with everything on the table because you have to have a little bit of everything. make your plate those things that you really enjoy on those specific days, and leave the mashed potatoes or the green beans for any other day that you can get them. And that's kind of the philosophy that I kind of live by when I'm navigating those food tables.
Those are great. Great ideas, great suggestions. We really appreciate those tips, Leslie. Thank you so much for coming on the Digital Desk and helping the thousands of people who watch us each and every morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, another live look from our High Five camera downtown. Just a gorgeous shot here. You can see the Mississippi River and the I-40 bridge. We'll be talking more about your forecasts and other news in 60 seconds. Everyone, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The holiday season is approaching. For many, it's already here, and many are facing that familiar pressure of assessing their finances, managing holiday spending, tackling stress. It always can be very stressful out there around meeting and saving goals. So let's talk about this topic with our next guest here. I am joined by Cash App's financial therapist, Lindsay Bryan Pavin. She is here to offer some guidance on evaluating your spending for the year with some tips and tricks to help you stress less, save more, and end the year with a fresh perspective on finances. So, Lindsay, where do we begin on all this? Good morning.
Good morning. So where we begin is at the very top. I invite everybody to do something called a money check-in. That's where you look at how much you're earning, how much you're spending, and how much you're saving toward those different financial goals. Once you have that baseline figured out, then you can make some wise financial decisions around how much money you have to spend on the holiday season, and also how much you want to be saving up for not just this year, but the year ahead as well.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So we do that, and then what are next steps? Because the spending can get out of control like that, and a lot of other things can happen too that are detrimental to the bottom line, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you nailed it. What often happens with us is that the holiday season comes upon us. We have invitations to holiday parties. We get roped into a bunch of different gift exchanges, and it feels like before we know it, we've overspent or we haven't been able to hit those different financial goals we set for ourselves. So that's why the money check-in is the very first step. Then after that, you might have to do something a little bit uncomfortable, Andrew. You might have to say no. You might have to say, no, I can't attend that party, or no, I can't participate in another gift exchange. Or if maybe you live in a different state than your family, you might have to say, no, I'm not traveling home this time. And even though it feels so uncomfortable in the moment, what it does is protect us from that financial stress after the holiday season of looking and seeing that we have overspent. So first is getting a lay of the land financially, then it's figuring out how much money you have available to spend, and then it might mean saying no. And saying no, again, might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it helps us to hit our goals for this year and for the year to come.
When I think of the holidays, I think of a lot of things, but the last thing, and if I think of anything when it comes to the holidays, I don't typically think of saving money. But where can saving money be a part of it all, Lindsay?
Yeah, I agree with you. It can feel a little bit like an oxymoron. So often we do just focus on not spending as much, but I also like to think about how can we save more? And that's where using a tool such as Cash App Savings can be really helpful in this moment, especially with something like Roundup. That is where with your Cash App card, every single time you spend on that holiday gift, you are rounding up to the nearest dollar and adding to your savings account. So that's where that you can kind of get a 2-for-1, where every time you are spending on a gift, you are actually adding to your savings account. And the great thing about the savings account is it is high yield. So you're earning more money on that savings account, fueling those goals for this year and beyond.
I like that. I like that, Lindsay. Thank you. Now, this next one is, when we're setting goals for 2025, always good to have kind of that savings account or emergency savings account if something goes wrong or, we need some finances in a crunch. But that is something, that we should be working on 365 days out of the year, right?
It's interesting. So many of us think that the stricter I am or the more stringent I am about hitting that emergency fund goal, the better off I'll be. But what so many of us know who have set a big, audacious goal right out of the gate is that we lose that momentum over time, and especially when it comes to saving. If we don't give ourselves permission to treat ourselves along the way, we can often feel like we are deprived or we are depleted of fun, and then we kind of swing in that other direction. So that's where doing something where you are saving up for the future and making sure to take care of yourself and practice a little bit of financial self-care by doing things like injecting some sweet treats along the way for yourself can be really helpful. So yes, save ahead, set those goals, but don't think of it as an either or. It is really, I am saving up for this particular goal and I'm enjoying myself along the way. That helps to build momentum, and that builds a sustainable financial habit.
I like what you're saying, Lindsay, and I also like the idea of practicing gratitude and not be so hard on yourself if you don't meet those goals exactly the way you want to meet them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So many of us, when we hit those or when we get just a little bit shy of that goal, we tell ourselves, oh my gosh, well, I didn't achieve that goal. And that's just not fair. I like to think about progress, not perfection. So maybe you had a goal of saving up $500 this year in your rainy day fund. And as the year comes to a close, you're closer to 350 or 400. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I didn't meet my goal, I invite people to say, oh my gosh, I saved up $350 or I saved $400. How did I do that? What were the things that I did really well? And how can I use those lessons to help build on that emergency fund or that rainy day fund so that when 2025 comes, I don't feel like I have missed my goal. Rather, I have made it 80% of the way toward that goal.
I like that, Lindsay. Makes sense for me. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
Yeah, I think something that's important to keep in mind, not just this holiday season, but all of the time, is that money is emotional, and it's okay to feel your feelings when it comes to money, and including them is really important. And if you need a specific tool to help you out, I highly recommend going to cash.app/savings.
Okay, Lindsay Brian Pobbin, I really appreciate your time here on the Digital Desk. Thank you for giving us some tips this holiday season. We definitely need it, and we appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. Have you heard about the Center of Innovation at Regional One Health? It helps innovators, it helps entrepreneurs out there use their creativity and their innovation to come up with new and better ways to improve the patient experience and outcomes. And one of the programs within the Center of Innovation is something called the Healthcare Startup Access Incubator. I'm joined now by Alejandro Alvarez. She is the Chief Innovation Officer for Regional One Health, and she has been on the digital desk before talking about the Center of Innovation. She's back now joining us to talk about this incubator that is set up for all those entrepreneurs out there, all those different business leaders and innovators. Alejandra, thank you so much for joining us. First, for our audience that doesn't know about the Center of Innovation, can you briefly explain what it is? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. So the Center for Innovation at Regional One Health is a department that aims to inspire and cultivate ideas from personnel, ideas from partners, and we do that through different programs and development efforts. So the Healthcare Startup Access Incubator, which you've just mentioned, is one of those programs, and that's specifically designed to amplify the work that's already been happening through the startup community. So if you're a healthcare startup, you've got a new innovative ideas, the goal of the incubator is to amplify your work by helping you validate whether you're solving for the right problem and the right solution. And we do that by giving you access to our environment, our real world environment.
It sounds great, and I'm so glad the Center of Innovation is here in Memphis and the Mid-South. So tell me about some of the new technologies involved. You know, we hear AI all the time, Alejandra, and I'm wondering how AI is involved with some of this Center of Innovation.
Certainly. So we actually have a new participant in our Access Incubator called OK to Stand Up. And they, in fact, have developed a solution that has AI involved in it. And so we're very excited to be working with them because it is the first startup that has a solution with AI in it. And as you know, that is top of the news today. So what they've done is they've developed an AI wearable device that is connected to a machine learning model that hopes to analyze the information and predict when an individual's activity is close to having intentions of getting up. And so if you are familiar with the healthcare industry, falls are a big harm factor. We don't want our patients to fall. So we do a lot of interventions and a lot of care surrounding how can we prevent and reduce that. And so that's what they're working to achieve and help support healthcare hospitals with. By understanding someone's intention of getting up, we can then, as a caregiver, proactively engage the patient and prevent a potential fall.
Okay, so OK to Stand Up. I understand that that is that's the latest thing here, and I understand that there's also studies with nursing homes that have been completed. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, actually, that's what makes this particular participant very unique in that when OK to Stand Up was developed, they were developed to try to address falls within the nursing home environment. And so they've set out to develop their solution. They actually have tested and validated their solution in that environment. And so what's interesting here is that they quickly realized the impact this could have also in hospital settings, specifically acute settings like Regional One Health. And so the studies that they've done have proven to be very, very noteworthy in that they've obtained 95% sensitivity, 95% specificity. And what that means is that out of every 100 notifications that say, hey, there's an intention of getting up by this individual, 95 of those are correct. And so what's interesting for us is they are validated from that standpoint. However, the setting is different. So our goal is to work with them to see how this technology translates into a hospital setting.
So tell me how the Healthcare Startup Access Incubator is helping a program like OK to Stand Up.
Thank you for that, because this is the beauty of what we think we can provide, both Memphis and also our community. So the incubator has been designed to provide access for startups so they can validate their business use case or their clinical use case. So what that means is, do they have all the right parameters from their business plan in place? Do they know how their technology is going to be purchased? How much is it going to be purchased for? Is it going to be paid for by either insurance or hospital? There's a lot of different questions there from a business standpoint that a lot of startups struggle with, especially if they're not in the healthcare industry. So through the Access Incubator, we're able to help them sort of find pathways and answers to those questions. And then from the clinical standpoint, of course, a lot of the times we will do feedback sessions or to some extent product evaluations that allow them to obtain that clinical validation. So the Access Incubator is both business and clinical focused, and the idea is if they can access a health system where they're putting their solution in a real world setting, they'll have a greater chance at entering the marketplace and therefore a greater chance at success.
It's fascinating to hear about this stuff. It's great to see and great to hear. We have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the Digital Desk, Allie. Is there anything that you would like to let people know about the Center of Innovation that we've talked about? You know, just an overview or how people can get involved or learn more information about it.
Certainly. Well, so first of all, I would like them to know that we provide a world environment setting for them to validate their technology or solution through candid conversations, exposure, interactions, and ultimately understanding the efficacy and safety of their product. So if they've got a healthcare solution that they're creating or getting ready to create, we can work with them through that process, and as a result of that, ensure that when they go to market, they have validated their technology and can have greater chance at success. In terms of our current participant, I think the biggest component that I would like the community to know is that even though this program was specifically designed for helping startups validate their technology, it also had a secondary objective. And the secondary objective is that our staff gets exposed to these latest advancements in healthcare technologies. They interact with them, and so we hope that inspires them and that gets them excited about what's to come. I don't know if that's always something that you can get from your day-to-day work, and so we hope to bring that excitement to them. But most importantly, our community and our patients also have a benefit in this structure, because by accessing this technology, we have the opportunity to be able to provide that to our patients as well, if the case merits it, right? And so it gives us an opportunity to tap into the latest technological advancements that are happening, innovations that are happening without otherwise would take us a long time to obtain. So I think that's the biggest benefit for us, is that we're also not only helping our staff members improve and think differently and think innovative, but we're also getting a chance to leverage that technology for patient care so that we can improve the health and well-being of our community.
Is there a website where people can go and learn more information about the Center of Innovation and what you guys do to help not only entrepreneurs and business leaders, but also the general public?
Yes, absolutely. So it's innovation.regional1health.org. They'll be able to find information about our programs and my contact information. So I'll be happy to talk to them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Alejandra Alvarez, we appreciate your time once again on the Digital Desk. Thanks so very much. And thanks for all that you do for the Center of Innovation, for all of us here in Memphis and the Mid-South. We appreciate it. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. It's beautiful outside. We had amazing weather today. We got another amazing day today, and we have someone else who's pretty amazing herself, Dr. Talisa Franklin, joining us on the Digital Desk with some amazing stories, amazing events to keep us upbeat and positive, not only today, but throughout the week. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I am amazing. How are you?
I'm doing exceptionally well, and just always looking forward to our segment because all that dose of positivity that you bring each and every morning, I'm here for it. Let's go.
Listen, I love it. I love it. You know, I'm telling everybody that is watching me, do not allow anybody to bring any negativity to you, baby. Don't bring me no bad news like they said on The Wizard of Oz. We only doing positive stuff right here in Memphis, Tennessee. That I love the 901. Listen, y'all, this weekend, this is going to be an amazing event. The Greens Cook-Off. So y'all know it's the holidays. Who don't like a big old pot of good greens, right? But the thing is, who is the greens champion? Who really know how to throw down in the kitchen with those greens? After they pick those greens, clean those greens, who really know how to bring the flavor to those greens? Listen, I just want to shout out the Fraser Urban Gardening that is doing exceptional service in the Fraser community, making sure things are great in the garden, right? And so this is their annual fundraiser. And listen, I'm asking all of my friends and my fam to let's support this because they really are doing the work in our communities. So it's the 4th annual Greens Cook-Off. Listen, we have celebrity judges, but most of all, we want you to be out to taste these great greens and enjoy this fundraiser. So the thing is, who will be the next king or queen of the greens? I like that, king or queen of the greens. Who's going to be that king or queens? Listen, it's happening on this Saturday. Grateful to Girls Inc. allowing them to use that facility. So it's going to be a great space, great time. Get out there on this Saturday and let's enjoy the 4th annual Greens Cook-Off by Fraser Urban Garden. Thank you all for all that you all do in that community, making sure the community understands the importance of gardening. So shout out to you all. I'm so excited about this Saturday. And then y'all, I'm telling y'all, this stuff is happening all weekend long. Then there's another amazing event that's happening in the Fraser Raleigh area over at my dear friend's church at Breath of Life Church. There is a play called Another Christmas Temptation. This is literally an amazing play. Last year, I had an opportunity to be there and to witness that great stage play. Y'all, it was music, it was fun, it was laughter, it was awakening. I want to definitely send a shout out to the writer of that play, Bishop Lawson, that is always doing an amazing job putting on great things. And listen, he brought the stars to Memphis, y'all. He did it again. And we want to make sure that we support him. Tony Grant, he was amazing last year. And I'm so grateful to see that he's back. Then we have Patrice Lovely. And then we had Trisha Mann Grant. Listen, it's going to be an amazing time. The only thing that's going to be missing if you don't make it is you. So we want to make sure you get out there. Let's just kick off this holiday spirit and watching Another Christmas Temptation. It's happening on this Sunday at the Breath of Life Christian Church right there in the Raleigh Fraser area. Pastor Rhonda Logan's Councilwoman Rhonda Logan's father's church, which they always is so amazing. Let's make sure we get out there and support this great production by Bishop Lawson that is doing the work. And then y'all already know we can't kick off a holiday spirit without loving what Mrs. Hazel Moore does each and every year. Is the 28th annual Memphis Christmas Parade in Whitehaven. Yes, it's happening in Whitehaven. So grateful on Evers Presley Boulevard. It's going to be an amazing time. Mrs. Hazel Moore always puts on an amazing event. Shout out to Freddie Mac that is right there by her side, making sure everything goes off without a hitch. Listen, I'm always grateful to be a part of this parade. And listen, bring the children out. It's absolutely free. Let me tell you, it's going to take up the whole street of Elvis Presley. So anywhere you get, you'll be in a great position to enjoy an amazing parade. I always say, people say, I'm going to the Rose Parade. I'm going to Macy's Rose Parade. Baby, Macy's Rose Parade may be great, but when you're in Memphis, you get to experience it right firsthand right there on Elvis Presley Boulevard. So it's happening on Saturday, November the 23rd, 2024 at 10 a.m. And so let's make sure that we support the vision of the mayor of Whitehaven, Mrs. Hazel Moore, and of course, love out to my brother Freddie Mac that has her back and making sure this parade goes off without a hitch. Y'all, there's so many great things that's going to happen this year. Woo! I'm just telling you, get ready, get ready, get ready, because there's no place that we'll rather be other than Memphis, Tennessee.
I love it. And the holiday season, I'm sure you're a big fan of the holiday season. I certainly am.
I love the holiday. I love the light. I love the love. I love the food. Oh, God, do I not? I love the Christmas parties. You should see my calendar for a Christmas party, Andrew. It is already. So I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Right.
So all the weight that I lost, I think I'm gonna probably mess around and gain it back because it's gonna be so much good food. Because there's no food like Memphis, and the love.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and I tell everybody, we know how to love. You could travel this whole world, and let me tell y'all, and I travel. There's no place like Memphis. Some people, can you imagine? They really think I'd be crazy because I'd be like happy-go-lucky, and they'd be just stern. I'm like, we're gonna smile. And so there's no place like Memphis, and the holiday season really brings it out, Andrew. And I'm just excited about it. It's a time of giving, sharing, and loving. And one thing we know how to do, we know how to give, we know how to share, and we really know how to love.
Oh, yeah, lots of love, and certainly lots of love on the Action News 5 digital desk for you. Dr. Talisa Franklin joining us each and every week. Thanks so much.
Thank you, my brother. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, another live look from our High Five camera here in Midtown Memphis. Beautiful day ahead. It's dry, it's sunny out, and it's kind of cool, 54 degrees. Let's talk about your forecast in 1 minute.
We have some great weather conditions on tap for Tuesday throughout the Mid-South as temperatures will be climbing up into the upper 60s and lower 70s yet again. So if you have any sort of outdoor plans by 1:30 in the afternoon, well, it's going to be pretty nice out there. Plenty of sunshine around yet again. Look at those upper 60s in place for Holly Springs, Ripley, over towards Corinth, Selmer, Bolivar, Arlington, as well as into West Memphis. Some lower 70s into Clarksdale, Batesville, Oxford, and up into Quitman counties as well. So it should be another really nice day of weather across the Mid-South. Plenty of sunshine around. The thing is, though, as we start to move into the overnight hours, not really the evening, but into the overnight hours, we do start to see some clouds scoot up from the south to the north, and that's ahead of the next disturbance that will swing itself through the region and bring us some rain as Wednesday does evolve. But for the time being, look at Wednesday as far as our overnight low temperatures from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. 46 for Bolivar, 46 for Dyersburg, 46 degrees as well for Blytheville, while Mariana can expect an overnight low of 50 degrees, and Marks, Mississippi will slip into the 53-degree range. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the night, and we will be seeing westerly winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The WMC First Alert Weather app, that is a good one to have on hand here because, of course, that is going to alert you in regard to the rain that we do have have within the forecast here. And speaking of which, here we go, Futurecast. As far as the afternoon or the morning hours on Wednesday are concerned, we will start to see these shower slides to the north here. And I do anticipate these being around here by sunrise on Wednesday morning. So from the beginning of the day, as to when most people wake up, through the overnight hours from Wednesday into Thursday, there will be some showers and thunderstorms around the Mid-South. Some good news is, though, not expecting any of these to be on the severe side. Of course, some heavier rain is a possibility with some localized downpours. But by the time we scoot into Thursday, look at that. A lot of the clouds, a lot of the rain, it's going to be well on out of here. And Thursday should be a pretty nice day here across the Mid-South, and that will be a continuation factor into that of Friday as well. How much rain can we expect out of this? Well, Futurecast, generally speaking, has about a ½ inch to an inch worth of rain here. It has a tendency to usually overdo the rain by just a little bit, so I'm thinking more in the range of probably a 1/4 to a ½ inch for most of us, but you will see your localized totals that do exceed that of an inch to an inch and a half, but as a general statement, about a ½ inch of rain is expected out of this, so obviously that shouldn't cause any sort of issues pertaining to flooding. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, it is never too far away to look ahead to that. Middle to upper 60s on Saturday, about 70 degrees will do it on Sunday. There will be a few more clouds around for the forecast period on Sunday compared to that of Saturday. I don't think it's going to be a bad weekend whatsoever. And if you remember, we did have a small chance of rain here on Sunday yesterday. We've been able to eliminate that here, so I think we should see a couple of dry days ahead here between both of those weekend days. Yet again, though, going back to the weather that we have on tap here for that of Tuesday, temperatures 64 degrees by 11 a.m., 67 degrees by 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., of course, that's just after that of sunset, we will start to see those temperatures drift back. And by 8 p.m., we're looking at some 57-degree readings here across the Mid-South and clouds that will be on the increase here for the day. And, well, that'll be the case here through the overnight hours as well. All right, let's get into it as far as that 7-day forecast is concerned. Temperatures pretty consistent here really across the board for the afternoon highs. 64 degrees, the coolest days that we will see between Thursday and Friday, but back into the lower 70s by Sunday and Monday. And for perspective, we should be at about 64-44 high-low split for our averages. So literally for that of Thursday and Friday, pretty much going to hit those numbers on the nose. Going back to Wednesday, though, yet again, watch out for those showers. They will be arriving here really before that of sunrise into northern Mississippi. They will be kind of spreading onto the north and to the rest of the Mid-South here as the day does continue on. Wednesday also does look to be on the breezier side. Not that I think the winds will be over the top, but still worthwhile to point out. And then moving into the weekend, I do think Saturday is the nicer of the two halves, just because there will be a few more clouds around on Sunday. Into early next week, that is when we start to introduce the next chance of showers, albeit just a 20% for the time being. Nothing that should really capture your attention. And there is an opportunity to see a couple of small chances of showers here between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. One last thing I do want to point out, notice those temperatures, they are on their way down here for Thursday of next week. We could start to see some consistently cooler temperatures around the Mid-South by the end of next week into that adjacent weekend. And don't forget, that adjacent weekend, that is the last one before that of Thanksgiving. So it really does look like by the time we move into the back half of November, we will see some cooler conditions around the Mid-South, but at least for the time being, we should see some really nice weather conditions for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just watch out for some showers, breezy conditions, a lot of cloud coverage, and just subpar weather conditions for that of Hump Day on Wednesday.
Everyone, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. And once you get to a certain age, maybe it's the mid to upper 30s, maybe it's 40s and beyond, we focus in, at least we tend to focus in, on best practices, best ways to age. Maybe slow down aging. Maybe just live a healthier life so that the aging process isn't as severe as some others. And certainly, that is an issue that our next guest is talking about. For some reason, we're going to have a little bit of gremlins in the system, but she is back, and she is someone that makes sure that each and every person at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville that she works with is in the ultimate and optimal healthy focus and frame mindset. We got Kristen Skinner here. She is a Lifetime Fitness trainer at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville to talk about this very important issue, healthy aging. Kristen, good to see you again. So where do we begin when we talk about healthy aging? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for having me on again. I'm so grateful. You know, it made me laugh a little when you said in the 30s, because I was just talking to someone yesterday about how a lot of times, you know, people will do college sports, play sports through college, and then post-college, they either trickle off or kind of lose contact with how they've been training, you know, while they were in college. So one of the greatest things you can do is take a piece of that. Like I was just talking to a client this morning who played college softball, and she was so worried about not being able to hold onto a bat once she, you know, got out of college and wasn't playing competitive sports anymore. So that's just one aspect of it. As you are aging through the 30s, coming into the 40s, that's just one part of it. I have another client who is early 80s, and he grew up on a farm, and he grew up walking from the barn with 2 buckets of milk. But now he's 80 years old, doesn't live on a farm anymore, and he wants to be able to still maintain that. So it doesn't matter how old you are, grip strength is still super important. And what we have learned is almost just as much importance as it is from getting up from the floor, like getting down and getting back up. That's crucial to longevity. We've learned now that grip strength is just as important to that longevity, but it's also related to better heart health and depression levels. So overall health in general can be related to our grip strength.
You know, I love that. I mean, it's very simple. You know, we're talking about grip strength and its relation to cardiovascular disease or cardiovascular health. And it's not complicated. It's nothing, you know, too, you know, physics or, you know, rocket science. It's very simple. You have better grip health, you have better health overall. Is that right?
100%. 100%. I would say that when you have better grip strength, your confidence goes up. So when you're more confident, then you're more willing to take some chances, do things, maybe go, you know, walk a 5K. If you're more willing to actually challenge yourself to do some things, then that's going to equate to better heart health overall.
So, so let's talk a little bit about grip health, grip strength. How do we mimic that? You mentioned, you know, the different people, a college athlete playing softball and an older man in his 80s that used to work on a farm. How do we mimic that at the gym or in our everyday life?
Yeah, so if you're in your everyday life, think of something that we all do, something so simple, like holding onto a steering wheel, right? Everybody does that, I guess, from the time you're 16 until you stop driving. So that's more of your life than not. So if you don't have the ability to grip well, then holding onto a steering wheel is going to be a challenge. So there's ways to mimic that in the gym and outside of the gym. I like to use the soup can analogy with my clients, because you can get soup cans, you know, really small or a little bit bigger, or even in jars. So if you can practice holding onto a soup can, mimicking, you know, some natural movements that you would do in everyday life, holding on to something. In the gym, we use kettlebells. Kettlebells come in different weights from 5 pounds all the way up to what I used with someone yesterday is a 50-pound kettlebell in each hand. So you can mimic that just by holding and pushing, balancing, you know, using your wrist, moving from side to side. Something as simple as getting up and standing down, using your hands, being able to hold on to something as you stand up and sit down.
I love that. I love that. Those are easy exercises, soup cans, kettlebells. I remember a long time ago, I don't see them around as much anymore, but remember those things that used to grip and you would work your forearms and stuff? Is that one of the things that you could do, I guess?
It's funny that you say that because I have one of those in my bag with all my bag of tricks that I use with individual clients, but you don't see them as much anymore because I think you can get into some overuse. So that's more of a rehab tool. And, interestingly enough, I think the stress ball might have replaced that tool.
That's right, the stress ball, of course, of course. Okay, so grip strength, certainly essential in so many daily activities, the catalyst for longevity and better health. Anything else you want to mention in this healthy aging month that we're in right now?
Yes, I think we sometimes forget the vital need to have the right nutrients in our body. So I always go back to nutrition, making sure that your body's fueled well, making sure that you have enough protein, the fiber, your multivitamin. So something like Life Greens that we serve at Lifetime, but also uh, not feeling like you have to spend a ton of money to get into some kind of programming. Like at Lifetime, we have the digital app. It's free for everybody now. Anybody can download the app and look at the programming. So you can start as simple as doing exercises just for your upper body, just using your hands to work on your grip strength. And you can start really small with just 5 to 10 minutes a day. So sometimes we get overwhelmed thinking we have to have a full routine, 30 to 45 or 60 minutes. And that's just not the case.
That's great. I mean, I love that. Something very simple that you can do 10, 15 minutes a day can do wonders for something. I want to go back to what you mentioned just a minute ago about diet and how key and important that is. If someone's watching, and we have thousands of people that watch each and every morning, Kristen, and if someone's watching us and they don't know where to begin, they weren't raised on health or nutrition, they didn't really know, they know little things here and there that they hear. Where do they begin when it comes to having the optimal health when it comes to diet? And also, is there a supplement or two? You mentioned a multivitamin.
So the first thing I would say is, a lot of times, especially as adults and as readily available as we can get information now, we're quick to try to figure things out on our own. But especially when it comes to your nutrition, rather than trying and failing multiple times and ending up in this yo-yo cycle of figuring out nutrition, just get help. At Lifetime, we offer free consultations for both fitness and nutrition, and just reach out and get help. Same with your exercise routine. If you have a very specific goal, we get together and we set up SMART goals for our clients, for all the members at Lifetime. A goal setting session doesn't cost anything. So we want people to start well and see it through and not just jump ship from one thing to the next, but see it through for a good 4 to 6 weeks and see if that's working. With nutrition, specifically when you're talking about grip strength, you might consider something like collagen. Collagen is great for healthy joints. So if you find that that's an area where you're struggling, or for skin health or hair, even your eyebrows are made up of proteins, and collagen protein is something that could really help. We have this brand new product, which I happen to love. It's a collagen elixir, comes in just a little bottle, and it's just a shot that you drink every day. But we also have the collagen that comes in a big tub. You can scoop it out, add it to your shake. So that's probably the first and foremost when it comes to grip strength, the supplement that I would suggest adding in. If you struggle to take a multivitamin, you could use our Life Greens and add Life Greens and collagen together and get a two-in-one. Or you could look into the capsules. That's personally what I use. Is we have an AM, PM, and we have those both for athletes, for men, for women. So it's good all around.
She is a personal trainer leader at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville. Kristen Skinner joining us on the digital desk once again. Kristen, thanks for the tips, the tricks, and all the information you give each and every time you come to the digital desk. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a
We have some great weather conditions on tap for Tuesday throughout the Mid-South as temperatures will be climbing up into the upper 60s and lower 70s yet again. So if you have any sort of outdoor plans by 1:30 in the afternoon, well, it's going to be pretty nice out there. Plenty of sunshine around yet again. Look at those upper 60s in place for Holly Springs, Ripley over towards Corinth, Selmer, Bolivar, Arlington, as well as into West Memphis. Some lower 70s into Clarksdale, Batesville, Oxford, and up into Quitman counties as well. So it should be another really nice day of weather across the Mid-South. Plenty of sunshine around. The thing is, though, as we start to move into the overnight hours, not really the evening, but into the overnight hours, we do start to see some clouds scoot up from the south to the north, and that's ahead of the next disturbance that will swing itself through the region and bring us some rain as Wednesday does evolve. But for the time being, look at Wednesday as far as our overnight low temperatures from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. 46 for Bolivar, 46 for Dyersburg, 46 degrees as well for Blytheville, while Mariana can expect an overnight low of 50 degrees, and Marks, Mississippi will slip into the 53-degree range. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the night, and we will be seeing westerly winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The WMC First Alert weather app, that is a good one to have on hand here because, of course, that is going to alert you in regard to the rain that we do have within the forecast here. And speaking of which, here we go, Futurecast. As far as the afternoon or the morning hours on Wednesday are concerned, we will start to see these shower slides to the north here. And I do anticipate these being around here by sunrise on Wednesday morning. So from the beginning of the day, as to when most people wake up, through the overnight hours from Wednesday into Thursday, there will be some showers and thunderstorms around the Mid-South. Some good news is, though, not expecting any of these to be on the severe side. Of course, some heavier rain's a possibility with some localized downpours. But by the time we scoot into Thursday, look at that. A lot of the clouds, a lot of the rain, it's going to be well on out of here. And Thursday should be a pretty nice day here across the Mid-South, and that will be a continuation factor into that of Friday as well. How much rain can we expect out of this? Well, Futurecast, generally speaking, has about a ½ to an inch worth of rain here. It has a tendency to usually overdo the rain by just a little bit, so I'm thinking more in the range of probably 1/4 to a ½ inch for most of us, but you will see your localized totals that do exceed that of an inch to an inch and a half, but as a general statement, about a ½ inch of rain is expected out of this, so obviously that shouldn't cause any sort of issues pertaining to flooding. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, it is never too far away to look ahead to that. Middle to upper 60s on Saturday, about 70 degrees will do it on Sunday. There will be a few more clouds around for the forecast period on Sunday compared to that of Saturday. I don't think it's going to be a bad weekend whatsoever. And if you remember, we did have a small chance of rain here on Sunday yesterday. We've been able to eliminate that here, so I think we should see a couple of dry days ahead here between both of those weekend days. Yet again, though, going back to the weather that we have on tap here for that of Tuesday, temperatures 64 degrees by 11 a.m., 67 degrees by 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., of course, that's just after that of sunset, we will start to see those temperatures drift back. And by 8 p.m., we're looking at some 57-degree readings here across the Mid-South and clouds that will be on the increase here for the day. And, well, that'll be the case here through the overnight hours as well. All right, let's get into it as far as that 7-day forecast is concerned. Temperatures pretty consistent here really across the board for the afternoon highs. 64 degrees, the coolest days that we will see between Thursday and Friday, but back into the lower 70s by Sunday and Monday. And for perspective, we should be at about 64-44 high-low split for our averages. So literally for that of Thursday and Friday, pretty much going to hit those numbers on the nose. Going back to Wednesday, though, yet again, watch out for those showers. They will be arriving here really before that of sunrise into northern Mississippi. They will be kind of spreading onto the north and to the rest of the Mid-South here as the day does continue on. Wednesday also does look to be on the breezier side. Not that I think the winds will be over the top, but still worthwhile to point out. And then moving into the weekend, I do think Saturday is a nicer of the two halves just because there will be a few more clouds around on Sunday. Into early next week, that is when we start to introduce the next chance of showers, albeit just a 20% for the time being. Nothing that should really capture your attention. And there is an opportunity to see a couple of small chances of showers here between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. One last thing I do want to point out, notice those temperatures, they are on their way down here for Thursday of next week. We could start to see some consistently cooler temperatures around the Mid-South by the end of next week into that adjacent weekend. And don't forget, that adjacent weekend, that is the last one before that of Thanksgiving. So it really does look like by the time we move into the back half of November, we will see some cooler conditions around the Mid-South, but at least for the time being, we should see some really nice weather conditions for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just watch out for some showers, breezy conditions, a lot of cloud coverage, and just subpar weather conditions for that of Hump Day on Wednesday.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Get this, 100 million Americans do not have a primary health care provider. This is according to Harvard Public Health. Instead, millions of Americans rely upon nurse practitioners to provide vital frontline health care, especially in underserved and rural communities. And we certainly see that here across Memphis and the Mid-South. My next guest can talk more about how important a nurse practitioner is. I'm joined right now by Stephen Ferraro. He's part of the American Association of Nurse Practitioners. He's on the Action News 5 digital desk this morning. So, Stephen, it's important, I know, to really kind of highlight and spotlight nurse practitioners and the work that they do. Can you first explain exactly what a nurse practitioner is compared to doctors and perhaps other nurses as well? Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, so nurse practitioners are registered nurses first. So they've gone to school, have a bachelor's degree, and then ultimately go back to school and get master's or doctoral degrees. And during that extra schooling, there's clinical time, there's additional education that nurse practitioners are prepared to be advanced practice nurses and can prescribe medications upon licensure, can diagnose and can treat ailments. And we know that in Tennessee there are more than 13,000 nurse practitioners providing health care each and every day across Tennessee.
Yeah, it is such a vital profession and something that we need here. Why do you think it's grown so much, and why are 100 million Americans not having a primary care physician and instead going with nurse practitioners?
Because access is a problem. It's not easy to get in to see your healthcare provider these days. So nurse practitioners are out there increasing access to care, are ensuring that people can go to get their screenings and get their primary care and get their immunizations, but can also take care of those more severe illnesses such as hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol. So nurse practitioners are providing essential access to healthcare. And across the U.S., there are 385,000 nurse practitioners providing over 1 billion patient visits each and every year.
So my understanding, Stephen, is that there is a national shortage of all kinds of nurses right now. How do we build up this profession?
We build it up by telling people about the profession and the amazing opportunities that exist in nursing and to be a nurse practitioner. The U.S. News and World Report has ranked the nurse practitioner profession overall #1 in demand across the U.S. So we're seeing a lot of interest, but we also want to make sure that there's enough faculty to train and teach the future nurse practitioners of tomorrow, and that's going to take public funding, federal funding, to ensure that there are grants and loans for faculty as well as for those wishing to become nurse practitioners.
Stephen, we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the digital desk, from Memphis and West Tennessee to North Mississippi, Eastern Arkansas. What else do you want to discuss when it comes to nurse practitioners and the vital need for more of them to go into this profession?
Yes, 27 states have full practice authority for nurse practitioners, which means that nurse practitioners have no barriers to practice. In the other states, Tennessee being one of them, nurse practitioners need a contract or a relationship with another provider. It limits what we can do and the access and the potential that we can provide. So it's really important that we speak with our lawmakers so that they can modernize the laws that will allow the nurse practitioner to provide the full scope and the full capability of what we have to offer to patients. And that's one of the most important things that we want to get out this week. We also have our website so patients can find a nurse practitioner. We choose nps.org, and it's a good place to find some information about nurse practitioners, and there's also some great health information there too.
WeChooseNP.org. All right, Stephen Ferraro, we appreciate your time here on the Digital Desk, and thank you for shedding a light on a very important profession across Memphis, the Mid-South, and across the country. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, and happy NP Week.
Okay, appreciate that, Stephen. Thank you. Another live look from our High Five camera here in Midtown Memphis, where it is a comfortable 54 degrees, lots of sunshine. More Action News 5's Digital Desk right after this. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The Memphis Botanic Garden, what a gem it is here in the city of Memphis. It's a gem being used for everyone across Memphis and the Mid-South. And they have some amazing holiday workshops upcoming over the next few weeks. I'm joined right now by Carly Zamora. She is Adult Education Coordinator at Memphis Botanic Garden. And Carly, I love how we do these interviews and you're outside in the Botanic Garden showing us just a little sliver of what we can expect when we go by there. And I loved reading some of these holiday workshops. I mean, you really do have something for everyone. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Absolutely. Now that we're starting to see all the colors shift and change in all of our foliage and our trees, I had to be out here just to show you guys how beautiful it's starting to get in the garden, especially in our woodlands area right now, and to kind of get you guys excited, like you said, for some of our holiday, fall, and winter themed workshops we have coming up. So we like to kind of cater to everybody, have a little bit for, people who just want to do flower things, just want to have some fun drinking events maybe coming up. So we've got a lot going on at the garden this season.
Yeah, you certainly do, and these are things that everyone can get involved in. It's something that really, I think you have something for everyone, right?
Absolutely. So, for example, this weekend, we have some classes such as our enameling on copper class. It's actually a hands-on metal forming class. Really cool if you want to learn to make your own jewelry. We also have fire cider workshop where you learn how to make fire cider from herbs that we grow in our own herb garden. We also have some fun things coming up in November. So November 1st, we have a collaboration with Midtown Bramble and Bloom where we'll be making dried flower wreaths, which are really cool because that means that you can hold on to them for year round and use them again next year. November 17th, we also have a really fun one with Hunter Coleman. So Hunter is the bar manager at Bari Ristorante and the director of mixology and product management at Waymar Gin House. So Hunter is going to be bringing this autumn alchemy class to us in November. And that's basically going to be 3 different mixed drinks. It's going to be a bourbon, a gin, and a Montenegro drink where you're going to learn how all these different flavors of cinnamon and nutmeg and vanilla all form together to make these beautiful drinks. So that'll be a really fun class if you want to kind of kick back, relax, bring some girlfriends, or have a date night. Either would be good. We also have some ornament making classes. So the same person that does all of our jewelry making classes, Brandy Boyd. Brandy is also going to be making chainmail ornaments in one of her classes. So that'll be really fun, in my opinion, for some teenagers and some parents to kind of join in on because it's really hands on and really easy to get into. And you'll be making 4 different ornaments in this one class. and learning how to fold and binge chainmail, which is really cool. And then in December, we have our silver clay gifts class. So that is a class that we typically do every December, and that is the same thing where you're going to get hands-on with jewelry, but you're going to use clay essentially and learn what silver clay is. So we have hands-on things, we have jewelry making, we have herbs that turn into drinks. We have lots of stuff going on.
No question about it. I love it. So just to review, November 1st, dried flower wreaths in Midtown Bramble in bloom. November 17th, the Autumn Alchemy with Hunter Goldman with all kinds of different flavors. You mentioned bourbon, Montenegro, gin. That sounds amazing. You're speaking my language right there. And November 23rd, you have colorful ornaments. Is that chainmail ornaments, I believe? November 23rd there from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And December 15th, Silver Clay Gifts Jewelry class from 10 to 5 once again. Amazing workshops there. What else can we talk about?
Absolutely. So with everything going on at the garden right now, we're actually also gearing up to our Holiday Wonders coming up. So Holiday Wonders we hold every single year. Our first opening date is going to be November 29th and run all the way through the end of December. We're super excited for that. I also am helping be in charge of our holiday night. So if you like Holiday Wonders and you like going out to see Christmas lights, but you don't necessarily want to have a bunch of kids running around, or you want to bring your significant other and have a date night, a girls' date night, have a bunch of friends together, our holiday night is going to be November 5th. So, or sorry, December 5th. That's really exciting for us. You'll be able to come, enjoy some drinks, and we'll also have a craft that you'll be able to do at the holiday night party. And that is going to be these terrarium ornaments where you'll get to pay your ticket. It's no extra cost to make these ornaments. We'll have air plants that you can bring or you can use into your ornaments and decorate them with ribbon and hang them in your Christmas trees. It'll be a really fun time. That's something I'm super excited about coming up in December as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how could I forget Holiday Wonders? Just a gorgeous time frame, and the Botanic Garden, gorgeous 365 days a year, turns in and transforms into the holiday season. And then that date night, love that idea, December 5th. Where can people go to get all this information online to kind of pick and choose which workshops and which days to go to Memphis Botanic Garden?
Absolutely. So I know we covered a lot of information. So if you'd like to read the information, see pricing for any of these classes, or buy tickets, you can go to membg.org. And under one of our tabs, you'll find upcoming classes and events. You'll click on that and you'll see everything we talked about today.
All right. Carly Zamora, you really brought it this morning. Nice job labeling and naming all those different events that you have going on. No script either. I'm watching. You have no notes. You just like naming it from off the top of your head. Great job. Can't wait to go to the Memphis Botanic Garden this holiday season. So many great things. Just go to their website. You can see all of them because you're right. We did talk about a lot here. Thank you so much for joining us on the Digital Desk. Carly, we appreciate it.
Of course. Bye, Andrew.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There is a City of Memphis hackathon that is about to begin next month. 36 hours to develop and present innovative solutions to 3 civic challenges for the city of Memphis: reducing blight in neighborhoods, improving transportation, and using AI and smart city technology. Let's talk more about this with our next guest, Jessica Lotz. She is the executive director of Innovate Memphis. Jessica, can you tilt your camera just a little bit down? There's a lot of headspace right there. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you on the digital desk. So tell us about this hackathon. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today. So the hackathon is going to happen November 15th through 17th. It'll be at the University of Memphis FedEx Institute of Technology. And what we're doing is really trying to honor one of Mayor Young's good governance initiatives. And that's to bring technology talent, creativity, bright ideas to longstanding civic challenges that you've mentioned. And so anybody that wants to volunteer for this can. We are looking for people that do have some technical skills like data analysis, computer programming, but we also actually need a lot of people who are good at other things like project management, creative design. Maybe you're like me, you have a policy wonk kind of background and you just are passionate about these different issues that you've mentioned. So they'll have 36 hours in a sprint to form teams, develop one solution on how the city can improve services and residents' experiences in each of those areas. And then at the end, each team will actually present their idea to a panel of judges. And if I can do a little bit of breaking news that we just announced Friday, the top winning team, grand prize best in show, will get $2,000 thanks to our sponsors. And then we'll also award best in each of those 3 categories for $1,000 to another 3 teams, sorry.
Oh, that's fantastic, Jessica. So this is November 15th through the 17th at the University of Memphis FedEx Institute of Technology. And so I know you mentioned volunteers. You're looking for a number of different people there. Explain again what the purpose is of this event and the type of people you expect to attend.
Sure. Well, the purpose is to really help us rethink some of these long-standing civic challenges that we've had. So you mentioned the 3 categories. I can go into a little more detail about those. So the first is around blight and neighborhood improvement, and our partner on that is All World Consulting. I think we all know that with a large city like we have, with a lot of geographic area, it can be really challenging for our city leaders in solid waste, public works, other areas to maintain all of the residential areas that we have. And so the example of how people could plug in on that is to help with some data analysis, help us identify some hot spots that might need more frequent love and attention to maintain them, potentially ways that residents can self-report blight issues a little bit more frequently, a little more easily. And then other things that the city's looking for there aren't necessarily having to do with data analysis or technology, but do you have a good idea about how the city can do better community engagement on these issues, or maybe get better resident feedback about how to beautify some of the areas that have been neglected? So a lot of different things that teams can do there. On the second issue about transportation access to workforce opportunities, we know that our public transit can't cover everywhere all of the time. And there's some other issues that some of our partners that do a lot of workforce development have identified as well. So for example, we have limited routes that go to our logistics centers in the kind of southeast, southwest part of town. We also have people that might be without a license or without a car that have a hard time taking advantage of some of the skill building or job placement opportunities. And maybe some of those are, later at night or third shift, or they're sharing a car with somebody. So we also are looking for great ideas on, what are some services and ways that we can complement the things that our public transit system can provide specifically for people that really need that leg up to get back into the workforce. And then the third area is kind of fun. It's a little bit more, blank slate, choose your own adventure. But we know that there's a lot of new exciting technology out there like AI, camera mesh, smart city types of sensors that can track real-time traffic and movement around the city. Fiber network that Blue Suede Networks and Ting are working on. And so in that area, we just want people to dream up what are the things that the city could be using these great new tools to do that we're probably not even thinking about yet.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, it sounds like a great event for so many different people, and to get real tangible solutions developed and innovated into the city of Memphis would be a dream, right? I mean, how many people are you expecting for this event?
Well, we're hoping to get 100 total volunteers, and that's a combination of the people that would be there all weekend working on teams, as well as our behind the scenes volunteers. So we also need people to just help us make the event run smoothly. But another type of volunteer opportunity that's I'm really excited about with this, that we've had a lot of people want to do, is even coaching and mentoring for the teams and doing some skill building workshops throughout the weekend. So we do have volunteer opportunities for both of those, and the skill building workshop topics are going to be data visualization, how to use maps, how to use AI and sensor technology, and then also tools that you can use that don't require any kind of coding, but for software. And so that's also my plug for people that are kind of thinking, I'm not sure if I have the right technical skills for this. It's actually a benefit to come and be able to build those, or just have some hands-on experience if you've never done it before.
So how can people learn more about this event? Where can they sign up? How much is it? Do they just show up, or should they register online first?
Yes, please register online. So you can find all of this information and more on our website, hackmemphis.com. And so there will be an opportunity there to either register to be on a team or sign up to volunteer behind the scenes. The cost is really kind of fun and interesting. This is a good behavioral science thing, but to register to join a team, it's $10 up front, but we will give you $10 in cash when you show up at the door. It's just a way for us to make sure that when people sign up, they're committed to it, and that we get a really good head count so we don't waste things like food. And so that's what it takes, but it's free. And then once the people that are doing the weekend long hacking join, you get free meals for every meal during that time. You get a very cool t-shirt that we're about to release the logo for, and skill building opportunity to meet new people and do something really great for the city.
That sounds fantastic. I love it. Hackmemphis.com. Jessica Lotz, we really appreciate your time on the Digital Desk, and best of luck on an amazing event, November 15th through the 17th, Hack Memphis. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk and telling us all about it. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks for the opportunity.
Morning, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are about to enter, in fact, many of us have already entered the holiday season, and there are so many great ways to celebrate the holiday season here in Memphis and the Mid-South. You can go to the Memphis Zoo, you can go to Shelby Farms, and you can go to the Memphis Botanic Garden. They have holiday wonders, always a favorite for so many across the Mid-South. Let's bring in Gina Harris. She is with Memphis Botanic Garden, Director of Education and Events there. I love your earrings, Gina. The holiday spirit certainly is in full effect there, isn't it? Good morning.
Yeah, I put these on special for y'all today. So we've been celebrating the holidays here at the garden for quite a while now. Trying to light up 96 acres is a big job, but we're getting ready for everybody. Can't wait.
Okay, all right. So holiday wonders, always a mainstay for so many people here. They love going out there. They love seeing the 96 acres all dressed up for the holiday season. What can people expect this year?
Well, this year we're coming back bigger and brighter than ever. We have all of the things that everybody loves. Our snowy nights in my big backyard, where the magic snowfall's happening, and the entire children's garden is lit with fun colors and things to enjoy. We've got our Under the Stars Lounge, which is in our rose garden. That'll have our large tree. And this year, right outside of the Rose Garden, we have our new tropical glass house, and that is like a jewel box when those colors start coming through. So that's going to be a lot of fun for the families to be able to sip on your hot chocolate or cider while you're sitting in the Rose Garden and enjoying the colorful light show that's happening over to the side of you. We've got our Merry Memories area, actually sponsored by WMC. And the Merry Memories area is going to be just those Instagram worthy photos. So we'll have sleighs. We've got a disco ball snowman this year, neon ornaments, all kinds of areas where you can get your photos made, and then keep on strolling through down our big twinkle tunnel and onto our interactive play area where we're calling it reindeer games. We've got stomp lights. If you came last year, the kids got to change the light colors as they ran across these fun lights, and we've expanded that area. We doubled the size of that space because the kids loved it so much. So all of that, and then on the weekends, we'll have food trucks here. So just tons of fun for everybody, and we're going to have 20 nights of this.
That sounds amazing. I love it. There's so many different things. So many people can find something in some place in Memphis Botanic Garden to enjoy and take pictures, as you mentioned. Certainly, Merry Memories, something that WMC sponsors. We love that. If you're describing Holiday Wonders to someone who's never been, what's the best way to do that?
You know, it's just a neat way to immerse yourself in the holiday season. You know, it's lit up. You get to be outside. So, you know, Memphis, there's nights during this season where it's not too cold outside. So we're all out there running around. Hopefully it's not going to be raining like it's starting to do now. But, you know, you get to come out here and enjoy the season. And on the cold nights, we've got heaters set up. We've got, we'll have fire pits on the last 3 nights. So after Christmas, when you're done with all that fun, but you still want to do some more stuff with your family and just kind of relax, you can come out. We're having what we're calling Afterglow on the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And that'll be special where you get to come and sit around the fire pits, roast some s'mores, just kind of sit around and talk about all the fun you had throughout the season.
That sounds amazing. So let's talk now about tickets, how people can get those tickets, how much do they cost for members, non-members, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so tickets are on sale now. You go through our website at membg.org, and these are timed entry tickets. So this way you get to decide when you want to come, go ahead and grab those tickets. Those early time slots sell out fast. Those are great for the little kids. Get here before dinner and then go out and have a meal. So those are going to be online, and the tickets are 15 for non-members, 15 for members, 17 for non-members. And if you wait on the day of, the ticket prices do increase. So it's best to go ahead and grab those tickets early. If we have something happening now where we have a rain out, then we'll end up refunding those tickets. You can transfer it to another night.
When does everything begin?
We're going to be opening up the day after Thanksgiving. So if you want to do that Black Friday shopping, get that done, and then come and enjoy the lights and the fun. The big guy will be here on the day after Thanksgiving. Santa's coming down from the North Pole. He'll be here for that night. Then he's also here on Sundays. And then we've got tons of specialty nights throughout the season where we'll even have some of our 901 friends here on the 18th. So you can come and see some of our 901 friends like Grizz and Pouncer, things like that. And then there's other specialty nights that a lot of people are familiar with, our Snow Queens. We're having Let It Glow, Jingle Jammies, where we're going to be reading stories and doing some fun songs with a new musician that's coming and going to be here for us this year.
That sounds awesome. I love it. I love it. Anything else we can mention about Holiday Wonders this year before we let you go, Gina?
Yeah, no, like I said, we just hope everybody goes ahead, grab your tickets now so you can grab that. We've got some other events coming up. Our holiday night that's going to be on the 5th. So it's going to be after Holiday Wonders opens, but that's kind of our 21 and plus night. You'll get to enjoy Holiday Wonders, but it's also got some other special activities and things. So If you want to come as a couple, you can come to that. But yeah, grab those tickets and we hope to see you here.
All right, Gina Harris and membg.org for all the information, including tickets. Gina, we appreciate your time on the digital desk and have fun this holiday season. Thank you.
All right.
We have some great weather conditions on tap for Tuesday throughout the Mid-South as temperatures will be climbing up into the upper 60s and lower 70s yet again. So if you have any sort of outdoor plans by 1:30 in the afternoon, well, it's going to be pretty nice out there. Plenty of sunshine around yet again. Look at those upper 60s in place for Holly Springs, Ripley, over towards Corinth, Selmer, Bolivar, Arlington, as well as into West Memphis. Some lower 70s into Clarksdale, Batesville, Oxford, and up into Quitman counties as well. So it should be another really nice day of weather across the Mid-South. Plenty of sunshine around. The thing is, though, as we start to move into the overnight hours, not really the evening, but into the overnight hours, we do start to see some clouds scoot up from the south to the north, and that's ahead of the next disturbance that will swing itself through the region and bring us some rain as Wednesday does evolve. But for the time being, look at Wednesday as far as our overnight low temperatures from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. 46 for Bolivar, 46 for Dyersburg, 46 degrees as well for Blytheville, while Mariana can expect an overnight low of 50 degrees, and Marks, Mississippi will slip into the 53-degree range. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the night, and we will be seeing westerly winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The WMC First Alert weather app, that is a good one to have on hand here because, of course, that is going to alert you in regard to the rain that we do have within the forecast here. And speaking of which, here we go, Futurecast. As far as the afternoon or the morning hours on Wednesday are concerned, we will start to see these shower slides to the north here. And I do anticipate these being around here by sunrise on Wednesday morning. So from the beginning of the day, as to when most people wake up, through the overnight hours from Wednesday into Thursday, there will be some showers and thunderstorms around the Mid-South. Some good news is, though, not expecting any of these to be on the severe side. Of course, some heavier rain is a possibility with some localized downpours. But by the time we scoot into Thursday, look at that. A lot of the clouds, a lot of the rain, it's going to be well on out of here. And Thursday should be a pretty nice day here across the Mid-South, and that will be a continuation factor into that of Friday as well. How much rain can we expect out of this? Well, Futurecast, generally speaking, has about a ½ to an inch worth of rain here. It has a tendency to usually overdo the rain by just a little bit, so I'm thinking more in the range of probably a quarter to a ½ inch for most of us, but you will see your localized totals that do exceed that of an inch to an inch and a half, but as a general statement, about a ½ inch of rain is expected out of this, so obviously that shouldn't cause any sort of issues pertaining to flooding. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, it is never too far away to look ahead to that. Middle to upper 60s on Saturday, about 70 degrees will do it on Sunday. There will be a few more clouds around for the forecast period on Sunday compared to that of Saturday. I don't think it's going to be a bad weekend whatsoever. And if you remember, we did have a small chance of rain here on Sunday yesterday. We've been able to eliminate that here, so I think we should see a couple of dry days ahead here between both of those weekend days. Yet again, though, going back to the weather that we have on tap here for that of Tuesday, temperatures 64 degrees by 11 a.m., 67 degrees by 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., of course, that's just after that of sunset, we will start to see those temperatures drift back. And by 8 p.m., we're looking at some 57-degree readings here across the Mid-South and clouds that will be on the increase here for the day. And, well, that'll be the case here through the overnight hours as well. All right, let's get into it as far as that 7-day forecast is concerned. Temperatures pretty consistent here really across the board for the afternoon highs. 64 degrees, the coolest days that we will see between Thursday and Friday, but back into the lower 70s by Sunday and Monday. And for perspective, we should be at about 64-44 high-low split for our averages. So literally for that of Thursday and Friday, pretty much going to hit those numbers on the nose. Going back to Wednesday, though, yet again, watch out for those showers. They will be arriving here really before that of sunrise into northern Mississippi. They will be kind of spreading onto the north and to the rest of the Mid-South here as the day does continue on. Wednesday also does look to be on the breezier side. Not that I think the winds will be over the top, but still worthwhile to point out. And then moving into the weekend, I do think Saturday is the nicer of the two halves, just because there will be a few more clouds around on Sunday. Into early next week, that is when we start to introduce the next chance of showers, albeit just a 20% for the time being. Nothing that should really capture your attention. And there is an opportunity to see a couple of small chances of showers here between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. One last thing I do want to point out, notice those temperatures, they are on their way down here for Thursday of next week. We could start to see some consistently cooler temperatures around the Mid-South by the end of next week into that adjacent weekend. And don't forget, that adjacent weekend, that is the last one before that of Thanksgiving. So it really does look like by the time we move into the back half of November, we will see some cooler conditions around the Mid-South, but at least for the time being, we should see some really nice weather conditions for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just watch out for some showers, breezy conditions, a lot of cloud coverage, and just subpar weather conditions for that of Hump Day on Wednesday.
Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. There is always an opportunity to check in with people that we have known in a different life. And one of those people is someone that you may be very familiar with. I'm joined right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by a friend of ours back with us in the newsroom. Jessica Jagloy's joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. And Jessica is now a communications director for Voices for a Safer Tennessee. Jessica, always great to see you. So tell us about this new organization that you're a part of. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. It's so good to be back. And yes, of course, we had to come to Memphis because this issue is really important to us, and Memphis is so dear to my heart that I want to make sure that we are spreading the message here locally for all of our friends here in the Memphis area, Collierville, Germantown, Fayette County, of course, the city of Memphis. We all want you to be knowledgeable on this subject and to learn a little bit more about our organization. Yes, so Voices for a Safer Tennessee is a nonpartisan, nonprofit coalition across the state of Tennessee that promotes firearm safety policy, all while respecting the Second Amendment.
So tell me a little bit more about it. I mean, how long has it been around? What are some works that you get involved in? Are we going to see you more during the legislative session when it begins in January?
Yes, of course you will. You will definitely see us during the session. So our group was founded after the Covenant shooting in Nashville. That's when this school, a private Christian school, was attacked in one of the neighborhoods in Nashville. So this group was founded out of that tragedy. And these were parents that were really shaken to their core and really wanted to make sure that they were doing something after that tragedy. And so we are Tennessee founded, we are Tennessee led, and we are Tennessee funded. And so that is who we are. We are in all cross sections of this state. And so we want to make sure, again, that we are reaching out to everybody in all these areas that feel the same way that we do, that we are tired of all of the preventable firearm deaths that are happening. The number one cause of death for Tennessee children are firearm injuries. And we wanted to make sure that we are working at the session level. So we want to work with Republicans and Democrats on incremental but long-lasting change on these issues.
So a lot of people are going to be watching this, and they're going to be concerned about gun control, Second Amendment, that sort of thing. So tell me about where Voices for a Safer Tennessee stand on some of those issues.
Well, we are very respectful of the Second Amendment. A lot of our coalition members are gun owners. We are also we have Republicans, conservatives in our coalition. This is not liberal Democrat group only. We are truly a cross-section and a blend from various places, various backgrounds, various belief systems, who all just want some healthy boundaries around firearm access, all while making sure that we're respecting the Second Amendment. So we have 3 tenets and 3 policies that we're pushing for. So that's temporary transfer laws. So Tennessee does not have a temporary transfer law that would temporarily transfer a firearm from someone who poses a risk to themselves or someone else, just temporarily. And then another part of this is secure storage. So making sure that there are that firearms are securely stored. And the last part of this is background checks, making sure that all firearm purchases are background checked, especially at gun shows and things like that, where you're in the gun show and you get a background check, but you step out into the parking lot and you don't need a background check. And some gun shows will not require a background check at all. However, these issues are where we see people who own guns and people who own firearms we all believe the same thing, that the Second Amendment is our constitutional right, and that we are not trying to infringe upon that. We just want to make sure that these firearms are not getting into the hands of people who shouldn't have them, frankly.
Do you see any pieces of legislation right now that have caught the eye of Voices for a Safer Tennessee?
So last session, we passed 2 policy pieces. We helped, of course, we didn't pass them, but we were proponents of 2 policy changes that were made. It was the first 2 in a decade that provided just a few tweaks to the way that firearms are accessed in our state. And this was passed in a supermajority Republican legislature. So really, we have people on both sides listening to us, working with us, all again while making sure that people still have the right to bear arms, the right to get a firearm, and that we are not punishing responsible firearm owners. That is not what we want to do. And so those are their 3 policies. And so we're going to kind of work toward that in the next session, just those 3: temporary transfer, background checks, and secure storage. There are some other pieces too. Scott County has done something really interesting. If there is an order of protection in a domestic violence situation, and the person who has the order of protection against them has a firearm, they have to write down who they're giving their firearm to, a name and a phone number, and so that is a piece that we're also perhaps looking at. But in Scott County, it's done great, and so we're just going to kind of see where we land. But those are the 3 sort of buckets that we follow and that we're proponents of.
Fantastic. So if someone is watching this in the Memphis, West Tennessee area, they want to contact you, they want to talk with Voices for a Safer Tennessee, how do they go about doing that?
So of course, please go to our website, voicesforsafertn.org. Or you can if you don't, just Google Voices for a Safer Tennessee, Voices for a Safer TN. And you can find everything about us there. You can join our coalition. And really what all that means is you'll get updates on what we're doing in session when it starts in January, sort of what we're doing as far as being in the community. We have plans on being out here, Collierville, downtown. We'll have booths set up so that you can talk to us and meet us, because we want to talk to our friends here. And so you can always find us also on social media. But the big thing we want to push to is early voting starts tomorrow. So
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. There are more cancer survivors today than ever before, and their needs begin from the date of diagnosis throughout their lifespan. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society hears firsthand every day from patients, from family members, caregivers, volunteers affected by blood cancer with their concerns and questions about a diagnosis, treatment, and much, much more. But I want to talk about how they are not alone. None of them are. Joining me now is Tricia Hernandez. She is Director of Community Engagement with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Good morning, Tricia. Thank you for being here. Let's talk about some of the support and resources that are so valuable for everyone that has been diagnosed with leukemia and lymphoma, including those caregivers and the family members. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here during Blood Cancer Awareness Month. From my own experience, when I was first diagnosed, I went where most of us go to look for information about something we don't know. I went to the internet, and I was completely overwhelmed and received a lot of information about statistics. And I really left that experience with a lot of fear and concern about what was next for me. And what I've learned through LLS and working with patients and caregivers every day is having a reliable, valid source of information for disease, treatment, and ongoing survivorship is really key. And LLS can provide that to patients and caregivers. And I think what patients leave with when they have that kind of information and support is more hope and less fear than I experienced.
Tell me about some of the most common challenges that people experience when they have leukemia and lymphoma.
I think initially it's really just not sure about what's going to happen next and not having information about the disease. It can sometimes come as a surprise, the diagnosis to patients and caregivers, and they're not sure what that means and how it's going to be handled and how to talk to their healthcare team about it. And LLS has education information that helps people better understand their disease and their treatment options, and even information about how to talk to their healthcare team, family members, and friends about it, as well as education information for healthcare teams to talk to their patients about it. And that first piece of really better understanding what's going on with you helps you manage it more effectively and really be less fearful about the unknown. But after that, it's practical concerns. How am I financially going to manage this? Am I going to be able to continue going to work and school? How am I going to take care of my family? Will they need to take care of me? Am I going to be a burden on them? And even longer term, how am I going to deal with this for the rest of my life? Is it going to affect me for the rest of my life? Am I going to have manage side effects forever with this? And if I have a chronic blood cancer, how will I manage going in and out of treatment for the rest of my life and what that means? And LLS really has looked at understanding the full experience that blood cancer patients and caregivers go through and provides resources for all of those things I just mentioned.
So, Tricia, we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the Action News 5 digital desk. If someone is hearing about this and perhaps they have a family member or a friend that's been diagnosed with leukemia or lymphoma, where should they begin?
They can begin with a simple phone call to an information specialist that will connect them to all the resources I've mentioned and more at 1-800-955-4572. And everything I've talked about is also available at lls.org.
And what would be your message? You're a blood cancer survivor yourself. You are a part of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. What would be your initial comments to them?
I would say make sure that you are taking care of yourself and getting regular checkups and blood work done. If something feels wrong, go to your doctor and talk to them about it and be very confident in leaving that, knowing what's going on with you. And then if it does ultimately end up that you have a blood cancer diagnosis, your first stop can be the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and one of our information specialists is glad to support you in better understanding your diagnosis and treatment options and really helping you connect to support services for everything from understanding your disease, connecting with someone who's a peer who may have been through that already, and into survivorship and managing the rest of your life as a blood cancer survivor.
Trisha Hernandez, we appreciate you coming on the Digital Desk. Thank you for an important discussion that needed to be had with regards to this issue, leukemia, lymphoma, the support, and what people need to do if they're diagnosed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Back here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk, well, the countdown is on for the very last Formula One race of the year, the last U.S. Formula One. Let's check in with our friend Gabe Saglier in Vegas right now. Gabe, you're looking the part. What's happening?
Yeah, fitting right in, Andrew. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, listen, we are right along the racetrack. You said it. This is now just a couple of days away, the second year in a row that the Las Vegas Grand Prix becomes reality, November 21st through the 23rd. Now, let me give you a quick look at the racetrack, because this entire city, as we speak, 24/7 is being transformed into what will be the fastest thoroughfare on the planet next week. Turn number 2, looking good right now. Just beyond turn number 2 is the start and finish line, Andrew. So that's where that famous checkered flag will be waving all weekend long. I'm standing right over turn number 3. There are 17 turns total, and this turn will put drivers in that very first straightaway, first of 3, where speeds are expected to reach 212 miles an hour. So quite a spectacle. This is a 3.8 mile racetrack. They'll do it 50 times, so cover about 200 miles in about 100 minutes, and I think it's going to be quite the thrill to watch.
It sounds like it. I'm curious, though, how is the city conducting business with this giant race in town, Gabe?
Well, I think, listen, the locals are very well aware that there are some streets that have limited access, and that access will become more limited as you head toward next week. A lot of learnings from last year. I think they've done a much better job at trying to keep things running smoothly. But what is amazing is that as opposed to just a racetrack where most of these other races have been held globally, this is a city transforming into a racetrack, and to watch it in action is quite something. For the drivers, they started the season in March. This is going to be the 22nd of 24 races. So they've been at this for many months in places like Australia, Japan. They were in Brazil earlier this month. And now they come to one of the most famous cities in the world. They'll be zooming past landmark resorts that we all know and love, like the Bellagio and Caesar's Palace and the Paris, Las Vegas, and Planet Hollywood. I spoke yesterday to one of the head honchos of the F1 Las Vegas Grand Prix. She put it quite nicely, this mashup that is Las Vegas and F1. Check this out.
The 3.8 miles take you around the iconic Las Vegas Strip, and that's unlike any other race throughout the world. The thrill of the F1 cars at that speed along the corners of the Las Vegas Strip is just the little hairs on your arms just get raised.
Yeah, so of course this is what she's talking about, that the iconic skyline, Andrew, that again is being transformed as we speak.
That sounds amazing. What else can we talk about with our viewers right now? Because it's you got me all pumped up.
Well, keep in mind, once this happens, this season moves on to the Middle East, and that's where it ends. So this is the last opportunity to catch F1 live in the U.S. If you're thinking about a last-minute trip out here, I was checking airfare out of Memphis. Spirit's going to be your least expensive airfare next week in the $300 to $325 range round trip, just FYI. Also, ticket prices. They've added 10,000 extra general admission grandstand tickets where you can catch the action live. Day passes start at $99 for Thursday night. Those are the practice races. They have a qualifier Friday night, and the big race is Saturday night at 10 p.m. But when you get your ticket, it's not just about the action. They're really leaning into the culinary experiences, the entertainment experiences. They've got all kinds of chefs coming in to cook things up over the course of the 3 days. Gordon Ramsay is transforming an F1 garage into a deluxe foodie haven. He'll be here for 3 days cranking out the food. The Bellagio Fountain Club right at the Bellagio Bellagio, they got more than a dozen celebrity chefs like Jean-Georges and Michael Mina working together to crank out some fantastic food. So it's not just about the buzz on the racetrack. It's about getting people revved up with some pretty amazing culinary and entertainment options as well.
Sounds amazing. Gabe Saglier, you always bring it here on the Digital Desk. We appreciate your time. Have fun and be safe out there, buddy.
You got it. Good to see you. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Another live look from our High Five camera here. Downtown Memphis, a gorgeous Tuesday morning. 59 degrees, 9:54. We're back with your forecast in 1 minute.
We have some great weather conditions on tap for Tuesday throughout the Mid-South as temperatures will be climbing up into the upper 60s and lower 70s yet again. So if you have any sort of outdoor plans by 1:30 in the afternoon, well, it's going to be pretty nice out there. Plenty of sunshine around yet again. Look at those upper 60s in place for Holly Springs, Ripley, over towards Corinth, Selmer, Bolivar, Arlington, as well as into West Memphis. Some lower 70s into Clarksdale, Batesville, Oxford, and up into Quitman counties as well. So it should be another really nice day of weather across the Mid-South. Plenty of sunshine around. The thing is, though, as we start to move into the overnight hours, not really the evening, but into the overnight hours, we do start to see some clouds scoot up from the south to the north, and that's ahead of the next disturbance that will swing itself through the region and bring us some rain as Wednesday does evolve. But for the time being, look at Wednesday as far as our overnight low temperatures from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. 46 for Bolivar, 46 for Dyersburg, 46 degrees as well for Blytheville, while Mariana can expect an overnight low of 50 degrees, and Marks, Mississippi will slip into the 53-degree range. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the night, and we will be seeing westerly winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The WMC First Alert Weather app, that is a good one to have on hand here because, of course, that is going to alert you in regard to the rain that we do have within the forecast here. And speaking of which, here we go, Futurecast. As far as the afternoon or the morning hours on Wednesday are concerned, we will start to see these shower slides to the north here. And I do anticipate these being around here by sunrise on Wednesday morning. So from the beginning of the day, as to when most people wake up, through the overnight hours from Wednesday into Thursday, there will be some showers and thunderstorms around the Mid-South. Some good news is, though, not expecting any of these to be on the severe side. Of course, some heavier rain's a possibility with some localized downpours. But by the time we scoot into Thursday, look at that. A lot of the clouds, a lot of the rain, it's going to be well on out of here. And Thursday should be a pretty nice day here across the Mid-South, and that will be a continuation factor into that of Friday as well. How much rain can we expect out of this? Well, Futurecast, generally speaking, has about a ½ inch to an inch worth of rain here. It has a tendency to usually overdo the rain by just a little bit, so I'm thinking more in the range of probably a quarter to a ½ inch for most of us, but you will see your localized totals that do exceed that of an inch to an inch and a half, but as a general statement, about a ½ inch of rain is expected out of this, so obviously that shouldn't cause any sort of issues pertaining to flooding. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, it is never too far away to look ahead to that. Middle to upper 60s on Saturday, about 70 degrees we'll do it on Sunday. There will be a few more clouds around for the forecast period on Sunday compared to that of Saturday. I don't think it's going to be a bad weekend whatsoever. And if you remember, we did have a small chance of rain here on Sunday yesterday. We've been able to eliminate that here, so I think we should see a couple of dry days ahead here between both of those weekend days. Yet again, though, going back to the weather that we have on tap here for that of Tuesday, temperatures 64 degrees by 11 a.m., 67 degrees by 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., of course, that's just after that of sunset, we will start to see those temperatures drift back. And by 8 p.m., we're looking at some 57-degree readings here across the Mid-South and clouds that will be on the increase here for the day. And, well, that'll be the case here through the overnight hours as well. All right, let's get into it as far as that 7-day forecast is concerned. Temperatures pretty consistent here really across the board for the afternoon highs. 64 degrees, the coolest days that we will see between Thursday and Friday, but back into the lower 70s by Sunday and Monday. And for perspective, we should be at about 64-44 high-low split for our averages. So literally for that of Thursday and Friday, pretty much going to hit those numbers on the nose. Going back to Wednesday, though, yet again, watch out for those showers. They will be arriving here really before that of sunrise into northern Mississippi. They will be kind of spreading onto the north and to the rest of the Mid-South here as the day does continue on. Wednesday also does look to be on the breezier side. Not that I think the winds will be over the top, but still worthwhile to point out. And then moving into the weekend, I do think Saturday is the nicer of the two halves, just because there will be a few more clouds around on Sunday. Into early next week, that is when we start to introduce the next chance of showers, albeit just a 20% for the time being. Nothing that should really capture your attention. And there is an opportunity to see a couple of small chances of showers here between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. One last thing I do want to point out, notice those temperatures, they are on their way down here for Thursday of next week. We could start to see some consistently cooler temperatures around the Mid-South by the end of next week into that adjacent weekend. And don't forget, that adjacent weekend, that is the last one before that of Thanksgiving. So it really does look like by the time we move into the back half of November, we will see some cooler conditions around the Mid-South, but at least for the time being, we should see some really nice weather conditions for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just watch out for some showers, breezy conditions, a lot of cloud coverage, and just subpar weather conditions for that of Hump Day on Wednesday. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. Let's talk a little bit about what to know when it comes to liver cancer. I'm joined right now by Rachna Shroff. She is a MD, a doctor, and at the University of Arizona Department of Medicine, joining us on the digital desk. So where do we begin when it comes to awareness for liver cancer? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, liver cancer is the sixth most common cause of cancer and a leading cause of cancer death worldwide. The most common form of it is hepatocellular carcinoma, and we know it's one of the fastest rising in terms of incidence globally. And unfortunately, because it doesn't produce a lot of specific symptoms, up to 70% of patients by the time they're diagnosed have what we call advanced liver cancer, which means they can't undergo a surgery to cure them, unfortunately.
So how do we find liver cancer earlier? It seems like with all cancers, doctor, the earlier you find it, the better. But then there's some cancers like pancreatic and I guess in some cases liver cancer where you find it and it's almost too late, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, we do have, over half of patients diagnosed at advanced stages. And with 41,000 people diagnosed every year, it's important to partner with AstraZeneca and be able to raise awareness around, like you mentioned, how do you find it earlier? We know that the risk factors for developing liver cancer include underlying cirrhosis or inflammation of the liver, and that can come from alcohol use, metabolic syndrome that leads to fatty liver disease, hepatitis infections. And so those people who have those types of histories should be and could be followed earlier. We don't have an obvious screening tool like a colonoscopy, but they can at least be followed with imaging.
Can you go through maybe some of the signs and symptoms for our audience out there? We have thousands of people watching on the digital desk.
Yeah, there's vague kind of non-specific symptoms, things like abdominal pain, weight loss, fatigue. Any of those things should kind of make you seek out medical attention, as well as jaundice, where your eyes or skin turn yellow, or you have darkening of your urine. Those types of things should really merit evaluation of your underlying liver function and then can lead to imaging and other potential diagnoses.
A lot of people think when they say liver cancer, they think there may be a drinking issue. What are some stigmas that people face and have to overcome?
Yeah, I think we're working really hard to erase those stigmas. Absolutely, excessive alcohol use and hepatitis infections from historically things like IV drug use can lead to cirrhosis. But actually, what we're seeing more and more now is a shift more towards that fatty liver disease from metabolic syndrome and lifestyle types of choices that can lead to cirrhosis and then liver cancer. So we're seeing more and more of those types of lifestyle related factors as opposed to things like alcohol. But regardless, it shouldn't be about the stigma because we now have options for treatment. And so we want to be able to diagnose people earlier so that we can get them started on these treatment options.
Let's talk about those treatment options because you mentioned there's several different kinds.
Yeah, we now know that immunotherapy is a viable treatment option for liver cancer. And what that means is training your body's own immune cells to activate and hunt and kill cancer cells. And in fact, in 2022, we had an FDA approval with Imfinzi and Imjudo, which is an immunotherapy combination. And that was based on a large phase 3 trial called the Himalaya trial. And in this large trial, what we found is that this combination of immunotherapy can reduce the risk of death from liver cancer by 22%. And then we just had more long-term follow-up data come out in September of this year. And what was so exciting to see is that with this combination, 20% of patients were still alive at 5 years with this treatment, compared to, say, 9% in the people who had the standard treatment options. And even more impressively, yes, all medications, there's risks of side effects and toxicities. But even with this immunotherapy combination, it's important to look for those new symptoms and side effects and talk with your doctor if you develop any of them. But in general, it was a really well-tolerated treatment option for patients.
That sounds great. New treatments always are a benefit to the patient. Anything else about needs for the patient population when it comes to liver cancer?
Well, I think the most important thing to recognize is that this is a time for optimism and hope. Patients are living longer than we've ever seen before with liver cancer, and their quality of life, they're having meaningful quality of life because it's such a well-tolerated treatment option. But, talking with your doctor, being in close contact with the medical professionals so that we can manage the disease as well as any symptoms that come from treatment is important. And patients can inform themselves using online resources like imfinzi.com, imfinzi.com, which has a wealth of resources about liver cancer, treatment, side effect management, et cetera.
That sounds like a great place to wrap up this interview. We appreciate it, Doctor. Thanks so much for the information. A lot there where people can go and find online. We appreciate your time on the digital desk. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Let's talk about the quality of life for those living with serious illness. I have Dr. Jeffrey Nelson. He is on the line right now. He's director for Regional One Health's palliative care, and he's going to talk to us about some of the differences when it comes to palliative care, hospice care, and what's best for not only the patient but for the families. Dr. Nelson, thanks for joining us on the digital desk. Can you explain exactly the difference between the two? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me back. The difference between hospice and palliative care is really an important one. I think a lot of times when people hear the word palliative care, especially as we become more well known, they think hospice right away. A hospice is really based on a philosophy that someone has an illness that will end their life, and their preference at this point in their journey is to forego treatments that are burdensome, that are tiresome, and that are prolonging life, and really dig into treatments that are enhancing quality of life in the moment. Palliative care, in contrast, is for anybody at any age, at any stage of an illness. It's really about a person that has an illness that affects their day-to-day quality of life, how they function in the world, and keeps them from functioning how they want to. And we really try to work in addition to your other treatments and other doctors to help you attain that quality of life you want.
Okay, so palliative care is more of a, getting that person better, or at least creating an environment where they're better to adapt to whatever kind of condition they're going through. Is that right?
That's much better said than I did. Yes, thank you.
Okay. When someone is in this situation at Regional One Health, for example, how are patients and families, how do they deal with this, and what can you say to our audience out there that might have to go through this at some point in their lives?
I think first thing I would say is don't be scared if palliative care shows up at your door. It doesn't mean anything other than we want to provide you all the help you can get. And Regional One, hospital palliative care is sort of different than clinic or out of the hospital palliative care, in that we're trying to help people navigate really complex medical situations. It might be at Regional One, especially, it might be a large injury that's going to require surgeries and a long rehabilitation process, or it might be an advancing illness like lung disease or oncology, cancer. And we're really just there to help talk you through it and really make sure that who you are as a person, what makes you unique, is heard and carried out in your treatment plan.
What do you see when it comes to palliative care at Regional One Health in your position?
It's interesting. Especially here at Regional One, where we deal with people that have had these life-changing traumatic injuries. And, I know I'm on their team, but it really is some of the best trauma care you can get in the world here. See people that are going through really hard times and see them face those times. So I was thinking about this question ahead of time, and a lot of times when people hear what we do, people that talk to our team say, "How could you do this? It must be so sad." And I think, no, it's really so uplifting, because we see people that are having a hard time, but they're facing it oftentimes with incredible grace, with bravery, with courage, and a lot of hope. So I think that we get to see humans being humans and making the best of difficult times.
Let me ask you this. The palliative care at Regional One, is it consist of a team of people there? Can you describe what that's like?
Yes, thank you. And I think this is a difference in palliative care versus standard medical care, is that we really, all care values an interdisciplinary approach, but we really try and model that. And so our team here at Regional One is 2 nurse practitioners, a social worker, we have a program manager, we work close with chaplaincy, and then myself as a physician. And we try and cover some of the gaps or some of the things that need to be smoothed out, that it doesn't just take a physician to address. It might be what supplies you need at home, might be where you're going outside the hospital, it might be having someone that can therapeutically listen and help counsel and walk you through the emotions you're dealing with.
So, Dr. Nelson, we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the digital desk. What would you tell patients and their families if they're facing a choice of hospice, palliative care, or something else?
Yeah, I would say that more and more palliative care truly is becoming the standard of care for anybody with advanced illness of any type. And by advanced illness, I mean one that you think about and deal with every day, that impacts your life every day, and especially one that is going to progress over time. So don't be scared. The more we look at it, the more we show how this support helps people not just feel better each day, but also long term. We see that people live longer, spend less time in the hospital, and are generally happier when they have this full wraparound supportive care. So if you think you need it, you probably could benefit, and ask your doctor or healthcare provider about it.
Dr. Jeffrey Nelson, we appreciate your time here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thanks for spelling it out for us, the differences between hospice and palliative care and what patients and families can expect when they go to Regional 1. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Back here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk, for the first time in 12 years, there is an update to the clinical practice guidelines for treating a sleep disorder. Perhaps you've heard of it, restless leg syndrome, or RLS. It's a condition that's very common. It affects about 2 to 3% of adults in the U.S. Let's learn a little bit about that syndrome and the changes right now. Or I guess you could say an update with some of the clinical guidelines. I'm joined right now on the digital desk by Dr. John Winkleman, Chief of Sleep Medicine at Massachusetts General Hospital. He joins us on the digital desk. So first off, John, let's talk a little bit about what is restless leg syndrome and who's affected. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. RLS is a neurological disorder that affects sleep. The reason and the ways that it affects sleep is that at night, people have these uncomfortable feelings in their legs, achy, creepy, crawly, tingly feelings that make them need to get up from laying down so that they can't go to sleep. They're sleepy, but they can't lay down because their legs are bothering them. As you can imagine, this produces significant frustration and distress. They can't fall asleep, can't fall back asleep, and in the morning, they're sleep deprived and all the things that go along with that.
Okay, all right. I appreciate you explaining that to us. So now let's talk about some of the updates to the treatment guidelines.
Sure. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine has released its first updates to the clinical practice guidelines in 12 years. 12 years is a long time in sleep medicine, given what's been going on in sleep and our increased understanding. And that's true of RLS as well. I've been involved in the development of medications and devices to treat RLS for 20 years or so, and always trying to find better treatments. And I've been a paid consultant to a variety of companies, including Azurity Pharmaceuticals. The big change here with these guidelines compared to 12 years ago is that the dopamine medications, which have been the go-to medicines for doctors for 20 years for RLS, because they work so well in the short term, we now realize that for many people in the long term, they make the RLS worse. More hours of the day are affected by the RLS. Symptoms can go from the legs to the upper body to the extremities. And this is the last thing that any doctor wants to happen to their patient, is to make them worse. So we have now downgraded those medicines. We conditionally recommend against their standard use for RLS. The good news is that we have 4 good treatments for RLS, with good evidence for them: gabapentin, gabapentin enacarbil, pregabalin, and intravenous iron. All 4 of those work very nicely short-term. Long-term, only gabapentin enacarbil and intravenous iron have demonstrated that they work for the 3 key outcomes. That's RLS severity, sleep, and quality of life. downgrading of the dopamine medicines, we still have 4 good medicines to treat RLS.
So tell me, John, how did these changes come about?
Well, Andrew, myself and the other members of the task force, we spent 5 years, meeting every month. These are people from all over the country, RLS experts, going over 1,500 trials of different medications and approaches to treat RLS. And we had statisticians reviewing the data, getting summaries of each one of the medications and their benefits and their side effects. And then as a group, we said, do these benefits outweigh the side effects for these medications? And on a case-by-case basis, we made decisions about those, which is why we have the strongly recommended, we have the conditionally recommended, and then we have the conditionally recommended against, where we think the side effects long-term outweigh the short-term benefits.
I really appreciate you explaining that to us. Fascinating stuff. I am interested, though, because we've talked a lot here about the whole process. Where can people see these new guidelines, these new treatment options, new medication for restless leg syndrome?
I think the important thing is that patients who think they might have restless leg syndrome should go to their doctor and say, I've got these feelings in my legs. Do you think it could be restless leg syndrome? Hopefully the doctor is aware of the new guidelines. Of course, any medication can have side effects, and you need to balance the side effects and the benefits of the medicine. So going to your doctor is number one. The next thing is to go to the website for the Restless Leg Syndrome Foundation. That website is rls.org. This is a patient-run foundation. It's been around for a long time, very credible and reliable, useful information for people. rls.org is a really nice resource.
rls.org. Dr. John Winkelman, we really appreciate your time on the digital desk. Thank you for spelling it out in a very easy to understand way and giving us the new guidelines. We appreciate it. All right, welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. There is the art of negotiating that's going to be happening on the University of Memphis campus in the College of Business. I'm joined right now by John Cicala. He is an assistant professor of teaching, director of MBA programs there. John, good to have you on the digital desk. So tell me about this idea, the art of negotiating, and this workshop that's happening soon. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm glad we got the audio working better now. This is a little funky setup, but what we're going to be doing, negotiation is one of those areas that so many people can always be better at. And it was the very first course I took when I was in grad school 20 years ago. I fell in love with it. And I think it's something that we can help everybody do a better job with when they're collaborating, working with others, whether it's negotiating for business, which is the main angle for our workshop on November 21st, or whether they're just wanting to negotiate better in personal lives. However, the skills that we're going to help teach them are wonderfully transferable between personal and professional lives.
I would think so. I mean, you need communication skills no matter what you do in any profession, and certainly that can bleed over into your personal life too. Communication and then negotiating, persuasiveness, that
Yep.
sort of thing. So give me the fundamentals. Like, what's going to be happening at this workshop, and what do you teach students there?
All right, what we're going to do is Thursday afternoon, November 21st from 1 to 4. It's a 3-hour session. We're going to have some basic concepts, a little bit of lecture, and give them some information, take a little bit of a break. And then for the second half of the workshop, we're going to do some simulated negotiations so they can practice some of the things that we talked about in the first half, some of the skills and concepts and tactics and strategies that we share with them. They can actually practice it with other people at the workshop so that when they go back to their jobs, they've had a little firsthand experience with it. Some of the concepts that we're going to talk about, and there are so many variables in a negotiation between doing your homework and knowing your side, but you also have to understand your counterpart side, what their interests are. One of the courses when I was being trained in this, I was taught very early on that the secret to making it work for you is to make certain that it works for them. And if you can get everybody on the same page and kind of find common themes and things that you have working together with the other side, it makes it a lot easier. But unfortunately, so many people tend to take more of a positional, this is what I want, and cross their arms and just refuse to budge. And that's not very helpful, and that's not good negotiating.
Is negotiating and compromise, is that synonymous? Give me the difference.
I don't know that there's a difference, but I think in a good negotiation, there has to be compromise. Nobody's going to walk away with every single thing that they wanted to get. The only way that happens is if the other side doesn't get anything that they want. So when we teach collaborative or principled negotiation, the concept and the idea is to work together with the other side, that things that can benefit me can benefit you, and you're working together, especially in a business context, because I don't know that I would want to enter into a contractual obligation with somebody else if they weren't willing to work with me and, put together a good plan and a good agreement that works for everybody as best as it can work for everybody. If someone's just looking to gain for themselves at my expense, I don't want to do business with that kind of person. That's not going to be good for me in the long run.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, John. I appreciate that. So Thursday afternoon, November 21st, from 1 to 4 at the Fogelman College there on campus, you're going to be teaching this executive session, this executive education programming. Is this just for students? Is it open to the public?
Oh, no.
How's it going to work?
Absolutely open to the public. If people would go into like Google and just do a search for Memphis Executive Training or FCBE, Fogelman College of Business and Economics, negotiation, it will take them to the webpage for our executive training series. And from there, they can click on leadership, emerging leaders. That will take them to the course. And the course is titled Negotiation 101, Negotiation for Business. And there's a link right there they can click to register for the program. It is wide open. We encourage large business, small business, anybody that thinks they could be better at negotiating, anybody that has to negotiate at their work, whether it's working with vendors, putting out disputes and conflicts internally, any type of negotiating that they feel they have to do and they want to be better at doing it, this is for them.
Okay. Well, listen, John Cicala, we appreciate your time here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thank you so much for taking a minute. And we look forward to hearing more and more about the School of Business there and this art of negotiating, this amazing powerhouse program that is not only for students, but for the entire Mid-South. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Appreciate
Yeah, some great weather conditions on tap for Tuesday throughout the Mid-South as temperatures will be climbing up into the upper 60s and lower 70s yet again. So if you have any sort of outdoor plans by 1:30 in the afternoon, well, it's going to be pretty nice out there. Plenty of sunshine around yet again. Look at those upper 60s in place for Holly Springs, Ripley, over towards Corinth, Selmer, Bolivar, Arlington, as well as into West Memphis. Some lower 70s into Clarksdale, Batesville, Oxford, and up into Quitman counties as well. So it should be another really nice day of weather across the Mid-South. Plenty of sunshine around. The thing is, though, as we start to move into the overnight hours, not really the evening, but into the overnight hours, we do start to see some clouds scoot up from the south to the north, and that's ahead of the next disturbance that will swing itself through the region and bring us some rain as Wednesday does evolve. But for the time being, look at Wednesday as far as our overnight low temperatures from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. 46 for Bolivar, 46 for Dyersburg, 46 degrees as well for Blytheville, while Mariana can expect an overnight low of 50 degrees, and Marks, Mississippi will slip into the 53-degree range. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the night, and we will be seeing westerly winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The WMC First Alert weather app, that is a good one to have on hand here because, of course, that is going to alert you in regard to the rain that we do have within the forecast here. And speaking of which, here we go, Futurecast. As far as the afternoon or the morning hours on Wednesday are concerned, we will start to see these shower slides to the north here. And I do anticipate these being around here by sunrise on Wednesday morning. So from the beginning of the day, as to when most people wake up, through the overnight hours from Wednesday into Thursday, there will be some showers and thunderstorms around the Mid-South. Some good news is, though, not expecting any of these to be on the severe side. Of course, some heavier rain's a possibility with some localized downpours. But by the time we scoot into Thursday, look at that. A lot of the clouds, a lot of the rain, it's going to be well on out of here. And Thursday should be a pretty nice day here across the Mid-South, and that will be a continuation factor into that of Friday as well. How much rain can we expect out of this? Well, Futurecast, generally speaking, has about a ½ to an inch worth of rain here. It has a tendency to usually overdo the rain by just a little bit, so I'm thinking more in the range of probably a ¼ to a ½ inch for most of us, but you will see your localized totals that do exceed that of an inch to an inch and a half, but as a general statement, about a ½ inch of rain is expected out of this, so obviously that shouldn't cause any sort of issues pertaining to flooding. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, it is never too far away to look ahead to that. Middle to upper 60s on Saturday, about 70 degrees will do it on Sunday. There will be a few more clouds around for the forecast period on Sunday compared to that of Saturday. I don't think it's going to be a bad weekend whatsoever. And if you remember, we did have a small chance of rain here on Sunday yesterday. We've been able to eliminate that here, so I think we should see a couple of dry days ahead here between both of those weekend days. Yet again, though, going back to the weather that we have on tap here for that of Tuesday, temperatures 64 degrees by 11 a.m., 67 degrees by 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., of course, that's just after that of sunset, we will start to see those temperatures drift back. And by 8 p.m., we're looking at some 57-degree readings here across the Mid-South and clouds that will be on the increase here for the day. And, well, that'll be the case here through the overnight hours as well. All right, let's get into it as far as that 7-day forecast is concerned. Temperatures pretty consistent here really across the board for the afternoon highs. 64 degrees, the coolest days that we will see between Thursday and Friday, but back into the lower 70s by Sunday and Monday. And for perspective, we should be at about 64-44 high-low split for our averages. So literally for that of Thursday and Friday, pretty much going to hit those numbers on the nose. Going back to Wednesday, though, yet again, watch out for those showers. They will be arriving here really before that of sunrise into northern Mississippi. They will be kind of spreading onto the north and to the rest of the Mid-South here as the day does continue on. Wednesday also does look to be on the breezier side. Not that I think the winds will be over the top, but still worthwhile to point out. And then moving into the weekend, I do think Saturday is the nicer of the two halves just because there will be a few more clouds around on Sunday. Into early next week, that is when we start to introduce the next chance of showers, albeit just a 20% for the time being. Nothing that should really capture your attention. And there is an opportunity to see a couple of small chances of showers here between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. One last thing I do want to point out, notice those temperatures, they are on their way down here for Thursday of next week. We could start to see some consistently cooler temperatures around the Mid-South by the end of next week into that adjacent weekend. And don't forget, that adjacent weekend, that is the last one before that of Thanksgiving. So it really does look like by the time we move into the back half of November, we will see some cooler conditions around the Mid-South. But at least for the time being, we should see some really nice weather conditions for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just watch out for some showers, breezy conditions, a lot of cloud coverage, and just subpar weather conditions for that of Hump Day on Wednesday.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are a world right now awash in so much information. I mean, tons. More than we've ever seen in world history. Some of it is quality information. Some of it isn't, especially when you see artificial intelligence like generative AI being passed along to all of us as something that's real when it actually isn't. So how do we combat misinformation without limiting free speech? I'm joined right now by Wendy Bound. She is an author and a journalist. She is on the digital desk right now to talk more about this issue. So Wendy, good morning to you. Let me ask you, how do we combat misinformation without limiting our First Amendment right to free speech? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. You know, you're asking the right question, and leading up to the November 5th election, as you noted, people are being flooded with all sorts of information. Much of it is quality, but some of it, as you noted, is not, and some of it is dangerously wrong. You know, we have two influences I think we need to pay attention to. One is that more of us are getting our news from social media than ever before. And you also gave a nod to another factor, which is the powerful advances we are seeing in artificial intelligence, which are leading people to create what's known as misinformation. And Americans, they are legitimately concerned. We have new data out this morning from Smart News showing that 85% of Americans are concerned about attempts to mislead voters in this election. And fortunately, there are some things we can do to protect ourselves, and I think that's what you and I are going to talk about here.
Yeah, I would like to discuss more about it because, you know, when I hear the term combating misinformation, I get a little bit worried, if I can be completely honest with you. Being a journalist like yourself, the last thing we want is to limit free speech out there, no matter what platform. And certainly when it comes to free speech, you know, we want to give it to everybody. But again, that concern of limiting free speech when you have generative AI, I totally get that. That's fake. That's made up. It's just the other stuff that there's a lot of gray area there. So how do we combat it without that free speech being lost?
Yeah, I like the balance with which you're asking this question, Andrew, because look, let's face it, there's a lot of good that has come from digital technology and from social media. It allows us to exchange ideas, as you were noting, and it also allows the candidates themselves to have a deeper connection with their audiences. But in times like when you are choosing who to vote for and you need to make sure that the information you're receiving is accurate, I do think it is incumbent upon us as Americans to actually play our own defense and offense in terms of how we look and vet for information. For instance, I think traditional media sources such as you all at Action News 5 and what we do at Smart News, where we are a free app which curates hundreds of sources from all sides of the political spectrum, but we have people who vet these sources before we put them into the app for their reliability and their accuracy. And we have teams of safety analysts and journalists looking at the information 24/7, making sure that stories in there are fair and are accurate and pulling them out if they're not. These are important things that people can do when they're looking for traditional media sources to rely upon. I also think, though, like, look, we're in our social media feed. Let's play defense on this. Do you see something that doesn't tick some of these boxes? Let's look for the FACs. F, are you looking at something that's coming from someone who perhaps is a fake expert, someone who actually doesn't have expertise in the subject? Are you looking at a piece of content that is designed to make you feel angry, right? This is another warning sign. And C, for the FACs, are you looking at something that is putting forth a conspiracy theory? These are some warning signs as well. And Andrew, there are also places people can go themselves to check information that they're seeing online. They can look at websites like PolitiFact or AP Fact Check or Reuters Fact Check, and they can see if some of these memes or things that kind of just raises an eyebrow to them, they can look themselves and take some responsibility there to see if these things are accurate. So those are a few things we can do to balance out both our ability to live in a world with free speech, as you noted, but also to make sure that the information we're getting is quality information.
That is so key, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm curious to learn more a little bit about the Smart News app. The fact check stuff that you just mentioned, that is an issue with a lot of people, not just me, but a lot of Americans. Just 5 days ago, Gallup released a poll that said only 31% of Americans have a great deal of trust or fair amount of trust in the media reporting news accurately or fairly. 31% all-time lows. I'm sure you know about this. More adults have no trust, zero, in the media. That's 36%. And compared to 1972, it was around 70%. So when you have PolitiFact and AP Fact Check, you know, there's a lot of people that kind of roll their eyes saying, whoa, 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 they have an agenda. But I'm curious about your Smart News app, because if they're tackling misinformation in a different way, then I'm all ears about.
Look, I think, you know, at Smart News, one of the things, again, that we have always done since our founding here in the U.S. is to try and deliver, as I said before, news from all sides. So you should be, you know, seeing perspectives that you might not see necessarily just elsewhere if you're going to one or two media sites. I think that's very important. I think, look, as journalists, we all have to live up to the responsibility of the fact that we have the privilege of coming into people's homes, as you all do at Action News 5, and as we do on the app and Smart News. And we have to take very seriously and live up to that responsibility by ensuring that the information we're delivering is fact-checked to the greatest ability that we can. I want to note one really interesting thing, Andrew, which is that when we did our survey, we did not see a big divide on the political spectrum in terms of people being concerned about misinformation. And this really struck me. We saw roughly 60% of both Republicans and Democrats concerned about misinformation. But here's something I think you'll find interesting. Where there was diversity is in the age. Baby boomers were far more concerned about misinformation. I think nearly 3/4 of them were. Whereas Gen Z, the generation that has grown up with technology really at their fingertips, they were far less concerned. Really, just a little more than 1/3 of them were worried about that. So I think we have a gap here, and that's something we need to continue to address.
Final question, Wendy. When it comes to finding those sources or spotting misinformation from a mile away, what can viewers, readers, people watching the news, what can they do in order to figure it out what's true, what's not?
I think the first thing is, look, trust your gut. I think Americans are very smart. And I think sometimes we'll see something and we'll have a little twinge. We'll kind of know it doesn't actually pass the sniff test. And if it makes us really angry because it doesn't support the candidate that we do, then that's a good test for yourself. And if it's also just something that seems off, if we have seen generative AI images of some of the presidential candidates being incarcerated or being arrested, right? That's a warning sign of something to go check on some of those sites that we talked about. And I just think that, you know, being able to vote and being able to vote with the most accurate information in our heads is one of the greatest privileges of being an American. And so that's the call to action I would issue to my fellow citizens.
Okay, Wendy Bounds, we appreciate this discussion very much, a discussion that needs to be had certainly on all levels. Thank you so much for your time. Back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. I want to talk a little bit about food expiration dates. They can be really confusing when you think about it. I mean, you see best by, used by, sell by, all these different things. So what do all of them mean, and when should we not buy those, and when it's perhaps okay to buy it? I'm joined right now by our friend on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, Quinay Johnson. She's a clinical dietitian at Regional One Health, and she's back with us. Quinay, nice to see you again. Let's talk about this issue. Does it come up often in your practice?
It does not come up often because I do acute care, so people are really worried about the trauma experiences that they're going through now. But in passing with family and friends, this conversation is brought up.
I bet. I bet. So, is there a certain rule, or maybe there's several rules that, like guidelines, just to follow when it comes to looking at the label, specifically expiration dates? Let's hear it.
Yes. So I did a little research before we had our conversation today, and food labeling can be confusing because there is no standard language for it, and it's up to the facilities or the companies that produce products to be transparent and put use by dates on them. But in terms of laws, there's only one law that encompasses the regulation of use by dates, and that's specifically catered towards infant formula. Everything else is up to discretion.
Okay, so off the top, I was talking about best by dates, use by dates, sell by dates. What's the difference here? I kind of get like best by and sell by. Maybe that's the same thing, but is there a way to just kind of decode it all?
So, Best Buy and Sell By, they are used well, all three of them actually are used interchangeably, used by Sell By and Best Buy. Sell By is usually used by the distributor, so your local grocery store, they use Sell By to make sure that they're keeping things on stock while it's at peak. So usually the people that are doing inventory and stock for the product on the shelf, once they see that Sell By has passed, they're supposed to remove it off the shelf. Or sometimes they'll give you a discount because it's still technically safe to eat, but it's not at its peak. Sell by, I just went over sell by, use by, and best by. Use by is usually the date that's most correlative with if it's best to eat or not. And again, going back to infant formula, when it has use by, you should not use. Infant formula past its use by date because it's backed by law, but everything else is basically used to determine if it's at its best quality. So you could still buy the product and it may be safe, but the best bet that you can, the best rule that you can abide by is if it smells good, looks good, and tastes good. If something doesn't look right, I say discretion by not picking that item up.
Okay, all right. Yes, it's so confusing. I mean, just hearing your response, it's like, okay, I got to write it down exactly which one is which. What about canned goods? I know that sometimes canned goods, have that expiration date, but a lot of times canned goods look the same either before or after that expiration date. How should we decipher that?
Yes, senses are your best friend. Taste, smell, sight, appearance, and texture. So with canned goods, of course, it's in a can, so you can't really taste it before you take it off the shelf. But things to look for with canned goods are any damage to the casing, or if it looks like it's been expanded. If you see those things, I would caution to not pick it off the shelf. And with the dates that are on the can, it is again in relation to its best quality. So if it has a date on the can that's past due, usually canned goods are still safe months to years after the expiration date.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I guess what's the most important thing if you were to say, okay, this is the number one thing you need to know when it comes to expiration labels, just overreaching, regardless, no matter what we're talking about. You got to remember this one rule. What would you say it is?
Excuse me, we're having some technical difficulties. I cannot hear.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear now.
Okay, good. I was just saying, if there was a far-reaching overall rule, like the golden rule when it comes to expiration labels on food, is there one label or is there one rule that just it trumps everything else?
So that one rule is the use by date. And again, that's only with infant formula. If the use by date on infant formula is passed, do not use it because babies are one of the immunocompromised of our population, and there's a list of people who qualify as immunocompromised or people that have impaired immune systems. When it comes to dates, they're not as reliable. The biggest thing that you can use are your senses, so your sight, your smell, your taste, and I believe there's one other sense that you can use. Yes, sight, smell, taste, or feel. So if you have the ability to use those senses to your advantage, use them because they usually never lead you astray.
Yeah, no question. One final thing, I've heard this before, just want to double check with you. If you have like over-the-counter medication like Tylenol, Advil, that sort of thing, if it's past expiration, that just means it's a lower strength and it's okay to have, right?
That is not my specialty, but I can agree with you that usually once it hits that date that you see on the case, then it is a lower strength than what it was before.
That's right. You're a dietitian. You're not, I got you. I got you. Out of the realm. Anything else? Final thoughts before we let you go, Quine?
Yes, so the FDA is one of the websites that provides a lot of information in regards to food safety. And one of the most confusing thing about these terms are that they can be used interchangeably and that there's no law to basically regulate how people talk about these topics. So when you're concerned about expiration dates, the term that's used is food product dating, and food labeling is actually used for nutrition facts labels. And they're very close because they're in the same realm, but it can get confusing really fast. So if you want to do further research, the FDA is a great resource, and specifically the USDA of the FDA, which is the U.S. Department of Agriculture, has information. And if you want to get even more specific, the Food Safety and Inspection Services, which is FSIS, that is the entity that handles all those topics.
She is clinical dietitian with Regional One Health, Quine Johnson, joining us on the digital desk once again. Quine, appreciate the info. Thank you so much for spelling it out for us. And really just kind of letting us know how confusing it can be and where to go to get the right information. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. You all have a great day.
Okay.
We have some great weather conditions on tap for Tuesday throughout the Mid-South as temperatures will be climbing up into the upper 60s and lower 70s yet again. So if you have any sort of outdoor plans by 1:30 in the afternoon, well, it's going to be pretty nice out there. Plenty of sunshine around yet again. Look at those upper 60s in place for Holly Springs, Ripley, over towards Corinth, Selmer, Bolivar, Arlington, as well as into West Memphis. Some lower 70s into Clarksdale, Batesville, Oxford, and up into Quitman counties as well. So it should be another really nice day of weather across the Mid-South. Plenty of sunshine around. The thing is, though, as we start to move into the overnight hours, not really the evening, but into the overnight hours, we do start to see some clouds scoot up from the south to the north, and that's ahead of the next disturbance that will swing itself through the region and bring us some rain as Wednesday does evolve. But for the time being, look at Wednesday as far as our overnight low temperatures from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. 46 for Bolivar, 46 for Dyersburg, 46 degrees as well for Blytheville, while Mariana can expect an overnight low of 50 degrees, and Marks, Mississippi will slip into the 53-degree range. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the night, and we will be seeing westerly winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The WMC First Alert weather app, that is a good one to have on hand here because, of course, that is going to alert you in regard to the rain that we do have within the forecast here. And speaking of which, here we go, Futurecast. As far as the afternoon or the morning hours on Wednesday are concerned, we will start to see these shower slides to the north here. And I do anticipate these being around here by sunrise on Wednesday morning. So from the beginning of the day, as to when most people wake up, through the overnight hours from Wednesday into Thursday, there will be some showers and thunderstorms around the Mid-South. Some good news is, though, not expecting any of these to be on the severe side. Of course, some heavier rain's a possibility with some localized downpours. But by the time we scoot into Thursday, look at that. A lot of the clouds, a lot of the rain, it's going to be well on out of here. And Thursday should be a pretty nice day here across the Mid-South, and that will be a continuation factor into that of Friday as well. How much rain can we expect out of this? Well, Futurecast generally speaking, has about a ½ inch to an inch worth of rain here. It has a tendency to usually overdo the rain by just a little bit, so I'm thinking more in the range of probably a 1/4 to a ½ inch for most of us, but you will see your localized totals that do exceed that of an inch to an inch and a half, but as a general statement, about a ½ inch of rain is expected out of this, so obviously that shouldn't cause any sort of issues pertaining to flooding. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, it is never too far away to look ahead to that. Middle to upper 60s on Saturday, about 70 degrees we'll do it on Sunday. There will be a few more clouds around for the forecast period on Sunday compared to that of Saturday. I don't think it's going to be a bad weekend whatsoever. And if you remember, we did have a small chance of rain here on Sunday yesterday. We've been able to eliminate that here, so I think we should see a couple of dry days ahead here between both of those weekend days. Yet again, though, going back to the weather that we have on tap here for that of Tuesday, temperatures 64 degrees by 11 a.m., 67 degrees by 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., of course, that's just after that of sunset, we will start to see those temperatures drift back. And by 8 p.m., we're looking at some 57-degree readings here across the Mid-South and clouds that will be on the increase here for the day. And, well, that'll be the case here through the overnight hours as well. All right, let's get into it as far as that 7-day forecast is concerned. Temperatures pretty consistent here really across the board for the afternoon highs. 64 degrees, the coolest days that we will see between Thursday and Friday, but back into the lower 70s by Sunday and Monday. And for perspective, we should be at about 64-44 high-low split for our averages. So literally for that of Thursday and Friday, pretty much going to hit those numbers on the nose. Going back to Wednesday, though, yet again, watch out for those showers. They will be arriving here really before that of sunrise into northern Mississippi. They will be kind of spreading onto the north and to the rest of the Mid-South here as the day does continue on. Wednesday also does look to be on the breezier side. Not that I think the winds will be over the top, but still worthwhile to point out. And then moving into the weekend, I do think Saturday is a nicer of the two halves just because there will be a few more clouds around on Sunday. Into early next week, that is when we start to introduce the next chance of showers, albeit just a 20% for the time being. Nothing that should really capture your attention. And there is an opportunity to see a couple of small chances of showers here between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. One last thing I do want to point out, notice those temperatures, they are on their way down here for Thursday of next week. We could start to see some consistently cooler temperatures around the Mid-South by the end of next week into that adjacent weekend. And don't forget, that adjacent weekend, that is the last one before that of Thanksgiving. So it really does look like by the time we move into the back half of November, we will see some cooler conditions around the Mid-South, but at least for the time being, we should see some really nice weather conditions for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just watch out for some showers, breezy conditions, a lot of cloud coverage, and just subpar weather conditions for that of Hump Day on Wednesday.
Well, that does it for us here on the Action News 5 digital desk. Action News 5's midday coming up at the top of the hour. They'll take you through. Ariana Poindexter, Eric Brill, and others will take you through the next hour with all your news headlines and your forecast. Amazing conditions out there if you take a live look from our High 5 camera here in Midtown Memphis, also downtown. It's just gorgeous. A wonderful afternoon with highs in the upper 60s, not a cloud in the sky, and dry conditions, certainly. And then join us once again tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7 o'clock, for another edition of the Action News 5 digital desk. We'll see you then.